My mother-in-law refused to pay for my wedding if I didn't respect her wishes. I told her I'll pay for it then.
Pay for it.
I, 25 male, will be marrying my fiance, G, you got a name for her?
Gianna,
25 female, later this year. I proposed to her a little bit before Christmas and we're aiming for a November wedding. Gianna has 2 older brothers, one of which has gotten married, and for one reason or another, my mother-in-law, 68 female, was not involved in the planning of the wedding at all.
Why? Well, do you want her to be involved?
She was pretty hurt over this, as she's always wanted to help plan her children's weddings. So we got engaged. She offered to pay for most of the weddings, and in return, we agreed to let her help with the planning.
Okay.
In my mind, as long as I'm marrying Gianna, I'm happy, and I was okay with this.
I'm sensing that there might be something coming that you're not okay with.
By the way, this comes from 1273 Rockefeller on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So the only thing I'm really sticking to that I refuse to change is what I'm wearing. My mother died when I was young, and she was the daughter of the first generation Scottish immigrants. My grandparents moved from North Scotland in the 60s, and my mother was brought up learning about her parents' culture. Since she died, I've had a hard time connecting to that side of the family. And after my grandfather died a few years ago, I decided I want to wear her family's kilt when I get married.
That's so cute. I love that. That's great. You should do that. If that's part of your tradition, don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
Yep, rock that quilt. I talked about this with my fiance before we got engaged because it's an unorthodox idea, but she thought it was kind of sweet and liked the idea. So she's on board. A few days ago, my mother-in-law came up to me and told me I'd wear a traditional tuxedo instead of a kilt. When I asked her why, she said it went against the view she had of Gianna's wedding and that the colors of my mother's tartan clashed with the colors she chose for the wedding. When I told her this was pretty much the only thing I'm unwilling to budge on, she brought up how she's paying for most of the wedding and wearing a tux is the least I could do.
That's so annoying when someone offers to give a gift and then holds it over your head.
When I brought up this to Gianna, she echoed the sentiment her mother had made about paying for the wedding. I'm able to pay for it myself and told Gianna that I thought she understood how important this connection to my mother was to me, especially because she can't be there, and if she wasn't able to accept that, I'd pay for the wedding myself. Gianna told me that I was being a bit of a wiener for this being stuck to what I want to wear, and once my mother-in-law heard that I would just pay for the wedding myself, she got really upset because it's always been her dream to plan Gianna's wedding.
She literally is planning Gianna's wedding, though. The only thing that she's not doing is the kilt.
Yeah, that's like the only thing he wants.
The only thing he's asked for. And he's told his fiance why it's so important to him. And she agreed on it. And now she's doubling back and is like, oh, actually, you're being a wiener. Ridiculous.
What do you call that? Living through your children?
Living vicariously through her daughter. I don't like either the mother or the fiance now.
I'm feeling a bit like a wiener right now and was wondering if I should just wear a standard tux. My family's kilt is really important to me, but this causing more conflict than I thought it would. And we have an update. Do we budge? Do we pay for the wedding?
I think you should. If your mother-in-law is going to make this the sticking point, then honestly, she's going to try and butt in other areas. And I think it's just easier for you to pay for the wedding.
My first thought process is, okay, you're going to spend anywhere from 15 to 30K just to wear a kilt at your wedding, but it's your most important day of the year. And it's connection to your mom, and it's going to be in every single photo that you have for the rest of your life.
Exactly. Again, this is an important part of your culture. And the fact that neither your mother-in-law or your fiance can understand that is pretty telling.
I hate that the fiance kind of like got behind her mom.
I hate that she should be supporting you, not, standing with her mom. I don't like it.
Update. So the past 24 hours or so have been eventful, and I took most people's advice to talk to my fiance about this issue before going forward. Her siding with her mother like this and going against me was really out of character, so I felt like I really needed to figure out what's going on. The long and short of it comes down to money. Gianna doesn't make much of a salary as I do. I make almost 2.5 times her salary. Despite this, she's pretty insistent on things being 50-50 between us. Our finances aren't combined until after marriage because of some weird tax issues and legal things in our home region. But with me making more, she insists we're a team and have to go 50-50 on big things. rent, car payments, electrical, wedding. So even though I'm able to pay for the wedding myself, she's not able to pay for half she feels like she wants to pay for.
Okay, so she's like, I want to split everything halfway. And Opie's like, I could pay for the whole thing, but she's very adamant, like, no, it has to be 50-50.
Because of this, she's really clinging on to the idea of her mother paying for our wedding, even though I'd be more happy to pay for it all myself. We've talked yesterday evening, and she said that since she accepted her mother paying for the wedding, their relationship has become pretty strained, with mother-in-law pretty much taking over the wedding planning. Apparently, mother-in-law was initially pushing for a tropical destination wedding in Jamaica.
Oh my God.
An idea Gianna put down quickly, as she knows I hate the idea of destination weddings. And mother-in-law had even tried to get final say on the dress Gianna was going to wear, as well as she wanted the final say over who the bridesmaids were. She wanted her friends' daughters, who Gianna is not close with, in the party.
That's insane. She's like, I want my friends to be there, and actually, Gianna, you won't be the bride. I'm going to be the bride.
I've had a pretty good relationship with mother-in-law so far. I found it kind of odd how she went all momzilla, but I've noticed her and Gianna drifting apart a bit, although I never thought it was related. I feel like this is a reason why Gianna's sibling planned their own wedding and the mother-in-law didn't plan theirs.
Yeah, she butts her head into everything. They're like, you're not coming anywhere near my wedding.
I feel like the mother-in-law should just become a wedding planner.
Clearly her dream in life. I think they need to do, Gianna needs to go to her mom and say, hey, we're actually going to have OP plan this wedding. We just have some differences and we don't want to put, too much pressure on you to pay for everything, and just leave it there.
A few people thought that Gianna actually hated the idea of the kill and had mother-in-law acting as the bad guy to try and change my mind. And you're not completely wrong. She doesn't hate the idea, but she doesn't like that the other male members of the bridal party will be wearing tuxedos while myself and my cousin would be wearing kilts.
We'll just get everyone to wear a kilt.
She wanted consistency across the board and had expressed this to her mother. Mother-in-law took this as the opportunity to get me to wear a tux instead of getting the groomsmen to wear kilts, and had the wedding colors change without Gianna's knowledge to contrast with my family's tartan.
She sucks.
That's crazy. She's like, it's either my way or the highway. Good thing OP has enough money to pay for the highway.
Yeah, pay for that highway. Get her off the road. We don't need her anymore.
But she's doing a lot of other sneaky things behind.
Yeah. No, you just need to get her off the planning as soon as possible.
When I talked to Gianna yesterday, she said that she had gotten out of a massive fight with her mother over changing the colors, and wasn't really in the mood to start another argument with her. She acknowledged she was in the wrong for siding with her mom and seemed genuinely sorry. She said that in the stress of planning a wedding while having an overbearing mother, she had thought of the kill as another detail and had forgotten the significance of it to me, and that she was really sorry. But you can never be sorry if you join us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST. Just tap her profile. That's sweet that she apologized.
I appreciate that she finally came around and was like, yeah, I'm sorry. I know that this is important to you. It's also just culturally significant because, a lot of Scottish traditions have been sidelined and erased and stuff. So the fact that the mother-in-law is trying to do that again is not cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of tug of wars with details, and she probably another one I have to fight her on.
Yeah, it's just get your mom out of there. It's going to cause you more stress if you have to deal with, Gianna dealing with her mom about not agreeing with it. It's just don't even deal with her. Get her out of there.
In the meantime, a few changes have been made. My mother-in-law is no longer paying for the wedding and no longer involved in planning. I'm going to pay half, as Gianna never wanted me to pay more than half by myself for something that's for the both of us. And my father-in-law is covering the parts that Gianna is going to have trouble covering. Mother-in-law is unaware of this. Father-in-law and mother-in-law are still together. However, he's not telling her he's helping pay. We're still getting married in November. Wedding colors have been changed back to match my kilt, and we've decided to rent kilts in our regional tartan for the rest of the groomsmen so they can match the aesthetic. Thankfully, no deposits were put down on things like tux rentals, bridesmaid dresses, or decoration, so no money was lost.
Huzzah!
I know a lot of people told me to seriously reconsider marrying Gianna, and going into our talk last night, I really was, but I'm happy with how things turned out since this was really an anomaly in her behavior, and I really am excited to marry her.
Yeah, I don't think I would have gone straight to the jumping to
the streets, Gianna. We're done.
definitely Gianna was in the wrong, but I think it was wedding stress coupled with her mom being like,
No, if you're willing to fight for something, fight for it.
fight for it. But that's the end of that story.
Am I the a-hole for telling off my future mother-in-law? And this comes from mother-in-law hates me 99.
Ouch.
My fiance, 22 male, and I, 25 female, are getting married. His mom started being extremely difficult when we announced. We visit his family in November, and she is not friendly with me at all. Spend hours in her room with a headache repeatedly and emotionally tells us that we must spend at least one holiday per year with them now, and it's only fair, and alluding that she was hurt we didn't spend any this year. So she's like, you should hang out.
Yeah.
more.
What's going on?
Yeah, what's going on? Why aren't you hanging out with me? 2 weeks after returning home, we get a video call from her and fiance's entire family telling us that she needs to have a religious ceremony take place involving her and her recently deceased mother by proxy. And the day before our wedding is going to be the best time for that. Mind you, this wedding is going to be out of town, and so the few days before are going to be busy putting things together. But anyhow, fiance looks at me to make the decision. So again, just like a little bit of breakdown. I'm gonna reread that because I think that could be a little bit confusing. So 2 weeks after returning home, we get a video call from her and fiance, and the entire family saying she needs to have a religious ceremony take place involving her and her recently deceased mother by proxy. So she's like, hey, I need to have a religious ceremony with the deceased mother.
This is the future mother-in-law coming?
And this has to happen the day before the wedding.
Yeah.
Like that's the only day.
Yeah.
And the wedding is going to be out of town, and they're going to be busy putting things together. But anyhow, fiance looks at me to make the decision. So the fiance is like, I don't want to say no. I don't want to say yes. You shoot my mom down about her deceased
Wow.
mom. Yeah.
Wow.
Basically, it's like, I kind of want to fuck up your wedding a little bit.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
Honestly, usually these stories are so crazy. At least it's not on the day of the wedding.
At least, at least she has the consideration for it to not
Also,
be the day.
why? Which
Yeah.
I guess we'll.
I guess we'll
get
find
more
out.
clued into.
Yeah.
So, fiance looks at me to make the decision. I feel like I can't say no. Mother-in-law is being very emotional. I try to convey the day before our wedding is going to be busy, so this is not ideal. And if they must do it, please plan in the morning as we have a lot to do later in the day. We get a text from his mom a month later saying she scheduled it for the late afternoon because that's the only time available. She then also tried to invite 5 extra people to our 50-person wedding.
I have a conspiracy theory.
Yep. What's a
I have a
conspiracy?
conspiracy theory. All right, put your hats on, everybody.
Put your hats on.
Do we have hats? We have hats. So my conspiracy theory is that the mother-in-law secretly hates OP and is throwing all of this to ruin the wedding, depleted of its people, its resources, and everything else, and try and make them just give up.
Oh yeah, I think that's 100% what it is.
The last-ditch effort. Put ICU in the comments if you agree. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong, but put an ICU down.
So let's get back into
to
the
reality.
story.
Back to it.
So was told no 2 times, then third time, sucked up to her daughter on us and tells us we needed to make up our minds whether or not they could invite those people. They did make up their minds. They said no. Yeah. We were honestly dumbfounded. Fiance calls her and says, no, she cannot invite these people. We don't even know to our tiny intimate wedding, and to stop asking. She cries on the phone, but the tears clear up immediately when the topic changes. She mentions that she is going to be upset if I have more people from my side of the family than she does at the wedding. So that's so whack.
It's not your wedding. Newsflash.
She never sent us addresses from her family despite us asking at least 3 times. And then when that didn't go over, she said she feels really left out of the wedding and like she wants to feel more apart than she does. Last week, we were making scheduling plans and we realized the time she set for her ceremony is the only time we can get her photos done. We let her know, and suddenly she has been very keen to check if they have a morning slot available. And surprise, they do. Fiance tells her he will talk to me about it because it's still going to be very busy the day before our wedding. She calls both of us anyway and basically puts me on the spot. She starts to get hostile, and I'm unwilling to negotiate at her with her at this point and tell her neither her son or I will be able to make it, and it doesn't matter what time it'll be. It is the day before our wedding, and preparing for it is more important than her ceremony. So basically, she's like trying to stop them from taking photos the day before by saying like, come to this funeral thing. And
Yeah.
OP and their fiance is like, we're going to focus on our wedding, not whatever you're trying to plan.
Yeah.
She starts crying, saying how important it is for her family to be together during the ceremony. I say, I'm sorry, but the wedding has to take priority. His family is pissed at me for not being flexible on this, and with the people we said couldn't come to the wedding. So, am I the a-hole here?
I don't think so.
Could you give
What
me
do we
one more breakdown?
Yeah,
before
sorry,
we-
this one-
before we dive
It's
into the
really
breakdown.
like
This one was a
yeah.
little bit confusing. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
from what I understand at this moment, at this
About right.
hot second moment, so OP and their fiance are getting married.
Yep.
Right. OP's mother-in-law has their mom die. The mother-in-law wants to hold like a funeral type ceremony the day before the wedding, I believe, in an effort to basically fuck up OP's wedding, because like OP, the mother-in-law, never really liked OP apparently.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Apparently.
OP is like talking about like they needed to do like pictures or something at that time, and apparently like the mother-in-law scheduled the funeral thing for the exact time that the pictures are going to be taken, and also was like, hey, can I invite a bunch of people to the wedding that you don't even know, because I don't want there to be more on his side than on my side.
Not your wedding.
Not your
Sorry,
wedding.
bro.
So is OP the a-hole or not?
No.
Not the
No.
a-hole.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think like
Yep.
I just like now I will say, you know, when you're doing your wedding, obviously there's definitely a component of like you obviously want your parents and your other loved ones to like have fun and feel included, like 100%. But there's just really a line where it's like, hey, this is about these two people celebrating their love and like being together and like having a date. Like this is for them. Like this is not about you having more. Like what a stupid game to play.
Yeah,
having
so
more
dumb.
a number of people at the thing.
Yeah,
like,
Izzy says not the asshole. Radio Demon says not the asshole. Sweetleaf says it's very scary to talk to you guys. Are we scary? And not the a-hole. Kim Quant says not the a-hole. Silly Jilly Bean says in our culture it is bad luck to have a wedding at the same time period, I guess, with the funeral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too near to a funeral within the family. So how recently deceased are we talking about? I mean, it
had to
sounds
be pretty recent.
It sounds pretty
Yeah.
recent,
Had to
honestly.
be.
It sounds pretty recent. But
Which
yeah,
is so crazy that the mother-in-law is using her own mother's death to try to like
to
To
sabotage it.
No, it's
Yeah.
manipulative.
And also, it's only a 50-person wedding. Adding 5 people like increases the size of the wedding by 5%.
yeah.
That's fucking
10%.
great. Or sorry, 10%.
What?
Fuck.
it's okay. I can't do math either.
Quick maths. Yeah.
Quick
Sorry.
math.
Sorry. 10%. That's
hard when
fucking
you get older.
crazy.
That's a lot. That's like
Shut up, Riley.
uh-oh, he's getting
God
saucy today.
damn.
What happened?
He's making old jokes about me turning
Aw.
27.
My mother-in-law forbid me from wearing white at my wedding because I'm not pure.
I guess you gotta wear red now.
Wear red at your wedding because your mother-in-law said. Sorry for the extremely long post. I, 32 female, am planning my wedding to my fiance, 30 male. But his mother has a problem with every choice and decision I've made. For context, I met his parents, his father and stepmother, before I met him. I worked closely with his father, and after a family tragedy, I met my now fiance. One of his younger sisters passed away. That's so sad, and also very interesting way to meet your fiance. By the way, this comes from Normal Cupcake 38.99 on the OK Storytime subreddit. So, I was already in a relationship when we met, but it wasn't a good one. He never stopped trying though, and after I found out that I was pregnant, my boyfriend at the time decided he wasn't going to stick around.
Too much to handle.
Fiance's parents took me in and helped me through a lot of sadness and grief, and in comes my knight in shining tinfoil. He took me to doctor's appointments, helped me with when I had morning sickness, and brought me chocolate and ice cream when I just needed to cry it out. This is so sweet. That's when it all started to go downhill. Mother-in-law would make sly and rude comments about my weight and how she wished her son would find someone who would have waited to make a family with him. For all intents and purposes, my son is his. Fiance is the only dad my son has known. Father-in-law would say things along the line of, if I wanted my son to date you, I would have introduced you to earlier. I just shrugged it off and just focused on being as healthy as possible for my baby. I have severe anxiety and depression, so making sure my mental health is stable is what's most important. Not their words. But it just kept getting worse. Fiance wasn't able to be there for the birth of my son because he was working outside the state at that time. He was sad that he wasn't able to be there, but called me every day to check on us. I had to have an emergency C-section because my son and I both had issues with the anesthesia and our BPs plummeted. I almost passed away. And my son wasn't breathing when he arrived into this world. I later found out that my mother-in-law and father-in-law never told him I was in the hospital, and he was still at home when I went to the hospital. A week later, my son and I were able to go home and recover. Mother-in-law started immediately sending my posts and TikToks about how to get back into shape. I have always been a bigger girl and struggled with my fertility. I had my son, 3 male, when I was 29. They always told me how important it was for their son to be with someone who cares about their health. Mother-in-law would also talk nonstop about her and her daughter went right back to their normal size after having kids. Mother-in-law also liked to point out how skinny her daughter was even while she was pregnant. I found out I was pregnant with my first daughter a month before my son's first birthday. Fiance and I were ecstatic that our little family was growing, even if it was faster than we hoped. All 3 of my children were conceived while on birth control. Damn. You're strong.
Wow, those are some sharp shooters right there.
I'm a little bit confused on which kids are his, if any.
The first one is not. The other 2 are.
Okay. After our daughter, 2 female, was born, we talked about possibly getting married. Okay, so this makes a little bit more sense. I feel like at the beginning it seemed like they were getting married after like a couple months.
They were engaged after a couple months.
I don't know if that's necessarily true because it says after our daughter, 2 female, was born. I think she was just saying this is my future fiance.
Because OP's fiance is their fiance now, so they're just referring to them as fiance.
But I believe at the beginning of the story, she's pregnant. They meet each other. They start dating. And then she has the baby. They have another kid. And now they're like broaching marriage. That is my understanding. I've never been super girly, but the one thing I've always imagined was my wedding. I told him I wouldn't have a problem making it official. I just don't want anything super traditional or uppity. It is a celebration after all. I had lost my stepdad as a teenager. So I wouldn't have anyone to walk down the aisle, so our wedding would look a little different. And I didn't want him to propose to me unless my family was there also.
Real quick, a cute thing you could do is if you don't have someone to walk you down the aisle is to have all the little children and your families walk you down.
Yeah, that would be so cute. They're just all holding your hands. Fast forward to my son's 2nd birthday. My son and I were on a scavenger hunt for his last birthday present, and it ended with our families standing in a semicircle around my fiance on one knee. It was beautiful. He got me a beautiful hexagonal moss agate ring, and my mom and grandma were there. Literally 5 minutes later, mother-in-law was asking about the wedding plans. Fiance and I had agreed on a fall wedding. She said we should do it in the spring. We agreed on burgundy, teal, and dusty rose with silver accents. She said we should do purple and gold.
I want an all black wedding. Everything just black.
Black? Just funeral type?
Just black.
I want a rustic bohemian wedding. She said it should be formal. I want to wear an informal white dress and cowboy boots with a flower crown instead of a veil. This is where I decide mother-in-law was never going to be okay with fiance and I being together. She told me that I shouldn't wear a white dress because I'm not pure. Well, you should mind your own business because you're not the bride.
Boom. Let's look at your history book too while we're at it.
Let's take a look through your holier than thou book. She said it isn't proper or right for me to wear white because I had children out of wedlock. This woman wasn't married until 5 years after having 3 children. Oh my God, you hypocrite. She wore white. I explained to her that none of the women in my family were pure before getting married, and they all wore white. And I wasn't having a traditional wedding, so traditional aspects of weddings weren't important to me. She lost it, calling me a harlot and telling me I was ruining the sanctity of marriage. She's been married twice before and is technically still married to her second. The thing is that she actually doesn't care about the sanctity of marriage. She is just trying to wheedle her way between you guys because she doesn't want you to marry her son. So she's trying to come up with any excuse.
Any and every excuse, and it's out of bounds.
Out of bounds. Father-in-law and her only held a ceremony, not legally married. I know this because I was literally there. It's so sad that they were so supportive of her before this relationship. Well, they welcomed her into their home when she got pregnant the first time. The flip was when she started dating their son. I ended the conversation about it and told my fiance that I didn't want their opinions on our special day. His parents said they weren't going to pay for anything if they didn't get a say in the planning. We've never asked them to pay for anything. Most of the planning is around the reception anyway, and I decided it would be fun to do a potluck/barbecue.
All right. You're doing a barbecue?
I'm doing a barbecue for my wedding.
Whoa. That's bold coming from you.
What? I've said that so many times.
A barbecue?
Yeah.
You're pescatarian.
Yeah, I'm going to fish.
You're going to fish barbecue?
I'm going to fish barbecue.
You're going to barbecue fish.
Yeah, it's an outdoor wedding.
Outdoor wedding. Sophia Donner, outdoor wedding.
Yes, outdoor-indoor wedding. But I'm going to find someone's backyard to do it in.
Okay.
Gussy up the backyard.
All right.
I'm going to walk down the aisle. My dad's going to be there. He's going to walk me down, and then he's going to flip around, put a new hat on. He's going to officiate the wedding.
Oh, word.
Yeah. And then there's a whole dance floor, and we eat barbecue. And that's my wedding.
Two of these things I'm having a really hard time comprehending for you, but I'm down. I'll be there.
Thank you. I've had this idea in my head for about 5 years now.
Wow. Okay.
Maybe it'll change. We'll see. We provide the meat and dessert. Everyone else provides the sides. The venue I found is free for day use and a $50 cleanup fee for night use. It is outside with well-kept porta-johns, and they will rent tables, chairs, tents, and all the other odds and ends for a $100 charge.
$150 wedding venue. Someone show me a cheaper one.
And she's having a cute little white dress with cowboy boots, so it's probably not an expensive dress. Even with 2 small children, we could afford everything we needed. My dress, shoes, and accessories are only $150 combined.
$300 now?
I'm hand making all the bouquets, boutonnieres, and centerpieces out of felt designs I found of lilies and succulents and old formula cans. That's so cute. And also it's nice because, people can take those home and they don't die.
Oh, yeah. The formula cans look cool after you take the labels off.
The bridesmaid dresses are about $80 a piece and can be worn a multitude of ways. And the groomsmen shirts are $30 and are just going to be styled with a nice pair of blue jeans and boots. The colors I chose gave the wearers the ability to wear them more than once for a decent price. Mother-in-law is now saying I'm tacky and I'm just trying to exclude her and sister-in-law from everything. Sister-in-law is one of my bridesmaids and told me she won't be helping because she doesn't like the theme. One of my younger sisters is going to be our photographer. She's trying to get her business up and running and asked if she could gift me her time and use my wedding as practice/advertising.
Wow.
Wedding on a budget. We love it.
I've never seen anything like this.
I agreed immediately. Another of my sisters is an amateur baker. She's gifting us a small cake to cut. The list of things I'm upcycling for this wedding/reception is long, but hopefully you get the picture.
Holy cow. Literally, probably under $300 wedding.
Yeah, probably under like 500, I would say. Yeah, because with the, food cost, it'd probably be around 500. Mother-in-law is fuming. To placate her, we agreed to move the wedding to the spring of 2024. Well, in November of 2023, I found out I was pregnant again. Damn. Were you on birth control then too? I would have been 7 months pregnant at the time of our wedding. We decided to postpone the wedding until after I had the baby. She's been pressing us to get married ever since she found out we're having another B-word child.
Wow.
Your mother-in-law sucks.
Do you want her to get married or not?
It's so confusing. Yeah. Literally make up your mind. For all of you keeping track, yes, that is 3 babies in 3 years. I had our 3rd baby and final baby 3 months ago. And you know what else happens at 3? Our live. So join us at 3 p.m. PST on YouTube. Just tap a profile. Oh, and there is a little bit more, but do you have any advice?
Why are we menacing on a lovely, beautiful family on a phenomenal wedding budget, nonetheless?
Not asking you for any money or any of your opinions, because who wants those?
I mean, if you want something to be mad about, Jerry Springer is on every day. Yeah. Used to be. You can watch our shows. We got a lot of stories you can be mad at.
Those stories, you could go watch Criminal Minds, be mad at the evil people in that show.
leave this poor lady and her lovely husband, that is your son, alone.
Because they got your grandbabies. Why are you being so mad?
I have no idea why she's acting this way. You think she's jealous?
I think that there is a level of kind of jealousy and control, or wanting control over her son. And I think that her and the father-in-law clearly want to have kind of a role to play in deciding who he gets to marry. And this is outset. Like, they're like, you're not who we wanted him to marry. And so now they're trying to kind of make it horrible for her until she like backs out or something. But there's a little bit left. I'm thankful that we did postpone, though, because 4 months later, my mom passed. Opie's really just going through so much. 3 months after losing my mom, my last surviving grandparent passed. So in the span of 6 months, I lost my mom and grandma and was a month away from having my baby. The birth of my second daughter was traumatic, to say the least. And a week later, I had to go in for an emergency surgery to remove a gigantic hematoma from my abdomen that formed because of the traumatic birth. After 3 months, I am finally healed from surgery and finally able to work out and get back into healthy shape. I am still grieving the loss of 2 of the most important people in my life. This year has made me come to the realization that what's important is we are happy and my family is safe and together. I hope that your mother-in-law can realize that too. My fiance said he wishes he could have had more time with his mother-in-law. He misses her too. We're hoping to have our reception in autumn of 2025. We've decided to elope and only have the closest people there with us when we say our vows. Yeah, better than having your stinky mother-in-law there. I'm still doing all the things I planned for her wedding. Tacky or not, I hope mother-in-law hates it. My mother would be so proud of how I'm handling my issues with mother-in-law. Sickly sweet customer service always pisses a Karen off, and my mother lived to piss Karens off. Oh, okay, well, I'm glad it's mostly working out. Man, oh man, yeah, your mother-in-law sucks. Maybe we just go no contact with her.
Oh, 100%.
She's being a nightmare.
See what your fiance feels about it, and I would definitely be inching towards that, because she's a complainer, dude.
She's sticking her nose in places it don't belong, and that's the end of that story.
My mother-in-law revealed my miscarriage at Thanksgiving, but blames me for ruining dinner.
Oh, don't do that. Don't do it.
I'm 32 female. I spent Thanksgiving with my in-laws, and it was one of the most upsetting days of my life. My husband and I have been trying for a baby for around 3 years. Last year, I got pregnant and miscarried twice.
That is really, really tough.
That's so hard. It was devastating, and my greatest fear is that I'll never be able to have a child with my husband. By the way, this comes from Embarrassed P 1036 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So in October, I found out I was pregnant for the 3rd time. We were thrilled, but also cautious because of my history with miscarriages. Originally, the plan was to keep it between us until I made it to the 2nd trimester. Unfortunately, I have a well-intentioned yet nosy mother-in-law. We were at dinner one night with my in-laws, and my mother-in-law noticed I wasn't drinking. My mother-in-law asked if I was pregnant, and I'm horrible at hiding my emotions, so my reaction to her question gave it away. I admitted that I was pregnant, but explained that we're very cautious and want to keep it private until I make it to the 2nd trimester. My father-in-law and mother-in-law said that they understood and agreed to keep it between us. Sadly, I miscarried about a week ago, and I was crushed. Oh my gosh.
This poor woman.
That's
oh my
so
God.
hard.
That is so hard.
It's been terrible, but I'm trying to stay busy to keep my mind off of it. Initially, I wanted to skip Thanksgiving, but I wanted my husband to see his family, and I thought it might lift my spirits to be surrounded by loved ones. I wanted to tell my mother-in-law about the miscarriage in person since it felt strange talking to her about it over the phone, but she wasn't free to see me this week. My plan was to talk to her the day after Thanksgiving when we could have a moment alone. Almost immediately after we arrived at my in-laws' house, my mother-in-law's sister hugged me and congratulated me on the pregnancy. Oh,
No.
that is so painful.
No.
I was shocked since my mother-in-law agreed not to tell anyone.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, like, oh, it's not the worst thing ever if,
Right.
people come up to you or, like, I could understand that happening.
Sure.
But she told them, hey, I don't want to tell anyone because we're trying to be. Come on.
Right. Ugh. I considered saying thank you to not draw attention to myself and put a damper on the night, but I couldn't hide my emotions,
Ugh.
and I told her I miscarried. She hugged me and apologized for my loss. A few minutes later, my sister-in-law came over to us and congratulated me. I'm guessing a different sister-in-law.
Right.
I started tearing up as I explained for the second time that I miscarried.
No. It's so bad.
They were both kind, but I was very emotional and frustrated since my in-laws agreed to keep it private. And this was the exact situation that I was seeking to avoid.
Yeah.
A few minutes after I spoke to my sister-in-law, my mother-in-law pulled me to the side and asked why I didn't tell her about the miscarriage. She said it hurt having to hear the news from her older sister instead of from me directly. You poor thing. I'm so sorry for you.
You know what hurts? A miscarriage.
Yeah.
You should, come on.
Come on.
Jeez.
I said that I wanted to tell her in person and was planning on telling her in the morning when we had a moment to ourselves. I said I wasn't expecting to be confronted about the pregnancy since she agreed to keep it private.
Yeah. Come on.
My mother-in-law said she only told her sister and daughter, which was to be expected in this situation since she was so excited.
No, it was expected that you didn't tell anyone because that's what you said what you would do.
Right.
That's what we expected.
Right. I was furious, but didn't have the energy to argue about it. So I said we should talk about it later and enjoy the holiday. I left my mother-in-law and went to socialize with the other relatives. When it was time to eat, my mother-in-law stood up to give the blessing. She started to talk, but then got emotional and began to cry.
Oh, no.
Ah.
Put an ICU in the comments. I know this is going to be so bad.
She asked the family to keep me in their thoughts and prayers since I recently miscarried. You're standing up and announcing this to everyone. Oh, my goodness.
We need to miscarry you, mother-in-law. Okay. We need to abort immediately.
She added that I've miscarried twice before and it's been an emotional experience for everyone. Dude, this is not your experience to share. That's insane.
Not
at all. I'd only told my mother-in-law and father-in-law about the previous miscarriages, so she was once again broadcasting my personal medical information. My mother-in-law started talking directly to me and said she knows I'll get through this and that I'll make an amazing mom someday. I couldn't control my emotions and started sobbing in front of the entire family.
Oh.
This all just happened,
Dude,
too. She just miscarried.
This poor woman is grieving for the third time.
Yes.
And this mother-in-law keeps torturing her.
Yes.
Of course, I like how she's like, or I don't like it, but
right.
She's like, I'm overwhelmed that I couldn't help but be emotional. Who wouldn't?
Yes.
Who wouldn't help but be emotional?
Absolutely.
Oh my
goodness.
This
is such a painful experience of like just getting your hopes up and then being devastatedly let down
3 times.
Yeah.
And
and so recently.
Yeah.
It's just
so bad.
A lot. And then in front of everyone. This is just, there's so many levels to this.
It's the worst. Yeah. It's so bad.
I was crying so hard that I was practically choking on my tears and couldn't catch my breath. Oh. My husband was furious and asked his mom why she thought it was appropriate to tell people about my pregnancy and miscarriages. Good on the husband. Yeah.
Tell him, hubby.
Yes. My mother-in-law responded by saying she loves us so much and was just very excited to be a grandma.
Shut up. You don't deserve to be a grandma.
It's just, I can't even, I'm speechless.
What's wrong with you?
With respect to the miscarriages, she said we deserve the family love and support during this difficult time. My husband announced that we were leaving and we left before the turkey was even served. Ooh, I wonder how quiet that table was when they left.
Right. And then the mother-in-law is like, why did you leave when I was about to serve? It's so rude to deny my food. And it's like, yeah. No.
We know exactly how this is going to go down.
Yup.
I cried myself to sleep and woke up feeling horrible. Oh, gosh.
Someone protect her.
Please.
Protect her, please.
This morning, my mother-in-law showed up at my house unannounced.
No.
Leave them alone.
Leave.
She said she wanted to talk to us about what happened. My husband was still fuming, and I told him to let me speak to his mom privately to avoid another fight. I was still upset about what happened, but I wanted to make peace and was willing to accept her apology since the situation has been hard on everyone. If she even apologizes, dude, I might add.
She does not deserve right now. It's like, yo, just leave.
Just
let me, literally this mother-in-law cannot let Opie have 1 second of peace. 1 second.
My mother-in-law and I sat down together, and instead of apologizing,
Here we go.
she lectured me about how I should have told her about the miscarriage before sharing the news with the other relatives.
What do we expect?
Well, she didn't even have time because she didn't even know that you were going to share it with the other people. You
Literally.
stupid person. I want to say so many insults, but then we'd be demonetized.
Exactly. Oh.
She said it was hard to hear the news from her sister when she was looking forward to a happy Thanksgiving. Oh, you poor thing, losing your Thanksgiving dinner because of something that you did.
I didn't get to eat the gravy and then everyone was there. I'm so sad. Shut up,
Shut
Granny.
up.
You old freaking Granny.
I won't even play the tiny violin. That's
Dude,
how much you don't deserve it.
You don't even freaking deserve it.
Yeah. She was also upset that I dropped this horrible news at dinner and that I should have found a way to tell her before the holiday, even if it was over the phone. I listen, I'm not a violent person.
Mm.
However, I would slap her.
Granny, get in these hands. Granny finna get these hands. It's go time now. It's go time.
It's just, you gone too far. Cross the
Dude.
line. Okay. But I don't condone violence or whatever.
I do.
She also said that if I was still so emotional over the miscarriage, I shouldn't have come to Thanksgiving and risked upsetting all the guests. Girl.
Like, what? At this point, like, what do you even want?
Yeah.
Do you?
Like, that's just, like, you are the problem. You are the problem. The mother-in-law, she didn't do anything. She's grieving and you need to leave her alone, okay? Boom, boom, boom. That's me to mother-in-law,
Got
okay?
him.
That's me.
Oh,
Boom.
please. At least let me take out my dentures first.
No.
No, you freaking mother-in-law. You want to be a granny, but guess what? You're not. You're just old.
Yes.
You're just an old lady with no grandbabies. Boom.
Boom.
Got
How's
him.
it feel?
Gotcha.
Not worse than OP, though, so be quiet.
Oh, yeah.
She said she knows I'm going through a lot and forgives me, but she wanted to be honest about her feelings.
Forgives.
There's nothing even to be forgiven for.
No, not even close.
I was floored. I told my mother-in-law that I may have made some mistakes, but all of this could have been avoided if she had followed through on her promise
Facts.
to keep the pregnancy private.
Facts.
Yes. Like, she was even snooping. Like, she didn't even announce that they were pregnant. She just was caught not drinking.
Literally, like, OP, like, yeah, OP made mistakes, but it's like the mother-in-law made mistakes that are, like, hurtful.
Yeah.
And, like, there's a difference between, like, a hurtful mistake and I'm like, oh, I could have, like strategic. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Like, this
It's just
mother-in-law
like,
sucks.
it's like the only mistake that OP could have made is like telling the mother-in-law that she's pregnant or just being around the mother-in-law. That would be a mistake, I think.
The only mistake she made
Yeah.
was not getting her on a flight to Canada and just being like, all right, there you go.
Right.
Bye.
Bye.
And then everyone just abandons her. That would be great.
Yeah. I said she owed both my husband and myself an apology. Good for you, OP. I'm
Yes.
so glad.
Stand on business, queen.
Yes. My mother-in-law asked if I would also apologize for making a scene at Thanksgiving. I didn't think I owed her an apology
Boom.
under the circumstances, and I expressed that clearly. Good. Oh
Good.
my goodness. This is so refreshing.
Nice work communicating.
Yes, there's so many stories where it's like, please stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
And you're doing it, and I'm so glad.
Dude, WOP.
She left in tears and said I was lashing out because of the traumatic pregnancies. You poor thing.
You about to experience some trauma
Yeah.
because of these. I can't, like we said, we can't say it, but you watching, you know.
Right. Got some physical therapy
Oh,
here. That's what we got.
Nice. If you want some therapy from us.
If you want some normal therapy
Normal
from us,
therapy.
you can join us live on YouTube and TikTok and Facebook every single weekday at 3 p.m. PST. Just tap our profile
Do it.
and we'll be there for you.
Yeah.
We'll be ready to fight all of your enemies, just like this mother-in-law.
Yeah. We got you.
But there is a little bit more, but I think we need to
Let's
take
talk.
a breather.
Let's talk.
Oh my
Talk to me,
goodness. I'm just like, I just, you know what I mean?
I think
this might be one of those situations
Uh-huh.
where you go to husband. Now, husband has stood up for
Yes.
I don't necessarily think husband did anything wrong per se,
Right.
but I think that this mother-in-law is so insane
Yes.
that you got to sit down with the husband and be like, listen, I cannot keep like having your mother-in-law go with this. I think maybe you go to her and be like,
Mhm.
listen, if you want to, look, we want to have you in our life. We want to
Right.
have you in the grandbaby's life.
Right.
But if you keep doing what you're doing, it's going to be absolute game over. And like,
Yes.
apologizing for what you've done, understanding what you've done, stop, like completely stopping any of that behavior. Anytime we bring up a thing, you're like, I'm sorry, and we don't see you
Right.
do it again. That is what needs to happen for my wife to be in your life, and then most importantly for mother-in-law, the
Yep.
grandbaby to be in your life.
Yes. Yes. That's a good point
Yeah.
too.
Because like we've heard it in stories before where the person's like, I'm not going to ask my partner to cut off their mom
Uh-huh.
per se. Sometimes they
Yeah.
should, but
Right.
in
hard
this
to
one,
ask.
yeah, it's hard to ask. But in this one, I think you could say like, hey, look, I want to limit my time and exposure to you if you're going to keep doing this. If you keep doing what you're doing,
Yeah.
and the baby's time,
Yeah.
and whatnot.
Yeah.
Um,
Whenever that wonderful day comes.
I feel like that is what it takes now, because I don't know what else is going to make her see the freaking light other than being sent to the good
Yes.
man upstairs.
Yes. This is I think OP's husband has like done everything that not everything that he can, but he's done a good job of saying his piece, you know? And I mean, the reason that OP wanted to talk to her privately was so that there wasn't a fight, because she knew that the husband would do that, you know?
Yes. She was trying
But
to
I
like
think
look
you're
out
right.
for you.
Right. But I think you're right. I think he can go an extra step further and just like lay down the law. Just like, listen, you cannot say this. You cannot do that. Or else like, here's are the consequences. You can't see your future grandbabies when we ever, make it happen. I think I agree. But there's even more to this story.
Oh my Lord.
My husband said I shouldn't apologize and also canceled our Christmas plans with his family. Yes.
W.
That's what we want. While I think my mother-in-law behaved poorly, part of me wants to apologize to diffuse the situation. No.
Don't do it.
Nuh-uh. Don't do it. I also know that this has been challenging for my mother-in-law as well, and we don't always react perfectly in these situations. You're too nice.
You're too
right
nice,
now.
OB.
Yeah. I also feel badly that I let my emotions get the better of me and put a damper on the evening. Girl, you had no choice.
You chilling.
Yeah.
Don't even sweat it.
Yeah, this was something you could not control.
Yeah.
Like not even the miscarriage, but like the reaction to it.
Yes.
Not in your control, especially so recently, and your mother, you know what I mean?
Agreed.
It's just, you're good. So, am I the a-hole for how I handled the situation and for refusing to apologize when my mother-in-law visited our home? And that's the end, but I think we made our answer pretty clear.
Nope.
No.
That's
Done. That's all you even need to say.
That's all she wrote.
Yeah.
Literally.
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 No. Not the a-hole.
So there you have it.
Whew, that was a crazy one.
That was,
Oh my
that
goodness.
was a crazy one.
Yeah, but that is the end of that story. My sister-in-law threw a tantrum on my wedding day, and they don't want my husband to leave.
Divorce your sister.
There you go. Context: both me and my husband live in different countries, and we got married in his country at my sister-in-law's house. Okay, cool.
Nice.
I was supposed to get married at his mom's house in the garden, but she refused to accept our view on things, so we changed locations as his sister insisted that if we didn't want to do his mom's house because she refused to hear us, then we can do it at hers. So nice of her.
sister-in-law. Let's
Yeah.
go.
By the way, this comes from a lead reasonable 1356 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So bearing in mind, I never met any of them at this point in person, only spoke on video call a few times and over Messenger on Facebook. So we flew to his country, me, my 5-year-old son, and my at the time fiance. We arrived and got to the car where his sister was waiting as all our bags wouldn't fit in my husband's car.
I said hello and thank you and said I'd hug her, but I'm all gross from the flight, and it was kind of hot in his country, so extra gross when in sweatpants. I was there for 2 weeks. We visited his parents a few times before the wedding, but we always had to get home as my son's sleep routine was 7 p.m. He's 5. Makes sense, right? Even though my wedding was really close, I didn't want to disturb his routine. So I have severe social anxiety to the point where I struggle to leave the house and have to push myself to go places to meet people, like restaurants, going for drinks. I also don't drink. So one day, his mom told us that we have to go to her house to have a family get-together or something at 6 p.m. They were all fully aware that my son goes to bed at 7 p.m. and he has issues with sleep and behavior if he doesn't get enough sleep, as we all do when we get very cranky.
That's true.
We need to get one of those shirts for the baby that's like, don't talk to me unless I've had my coffee. You know what I mean?
Let's go.
One
Cute
of
baby
those.
onesies.
However, if his behavior is extra, it becomes extremely dangerous to take him out, even if we're holding his hand, as he likes to bolt and run in roads at that point.
Oh.
So I like to keep his sleep pattern very regular.
Not good tendencies for
Ew.
his breathing to continue.
Right. We went to his mom's house anyway because none of them care or understand that my anxiety is raging at this point, and it turned out to be a surprise engagement party, kind of.
But they're getting
Wow.
married. I'm sensing not goodness.
Dang. None of his siblings knew it was a surprise, and I can't really say it was an engagement party as it was definitely for my husband's birthday. Okay, so they're so silly.
Yeah.
So I tried to engage and talk, but everyone talked about sports. I know 0 things about sports.
You like sports?
And stuff I couldn't even try to pull a conversation out of. Closed-ended answers anytime I tried to make conversation. I ended up having a severe panic attack, and we left around 9 p.m., which, if you have children and know the consequences, then it was a very difficult day afterwards. They did this to us several days that we were there before the wedding, and his mom cried at our engagement party because she was losing her son. I did say thank you for everything and appreciated that they did something for us, as we didn't really fuss about wedding gifts and whatnot. Pausing.
Pause.
She's losing her son to a marriage?
Yep.
Not how
Apparently.
that works, really.
I'd be like, oh yeah, let's go to the cemetery and wait, no. Oh, he's still alive.
Yeah,
Oh wait, he's still right here.
right.
Like,
He's just entering a beautiful new chapter of his life. So
if you love your son so much, why didn't you marry him?
ooh, gotcha right there.
Gotcha.
So the wedding day rolled around and his sister let me use her shower, to which I appreciated very much and thanked her constantly for. My husband spent the whole day running errands, and I spent the whole day getting everything set up, with no one speaking 2 words to me. When getting ready, all was going well, and I found out that I had pockets in my wedding dress, which was the best thing ever. Dude, that's
W.
a win. That's a win. I love it when dresses have pockets. I never use my pockets in dresses, like maybe once or twice. I also don't have a lot of dresses that have pockets, but that's always so exciting.
Naima gave me a pair of pants the other day, and I literally tried to put my hand in the pocket, and it was like, boop.
No.
And I'm like, this is not good.
No.
That's a struggle. That's
Was
a
it
struggle
just
for
like
real, for real.
closed, or was there just
Nah,
no pocket?
It was no pocket. It was sewed. I'm like, this is so. It was jeans.
Oh my goodness.
It was silly. It was silly.
That's crazy. His niece, who was 26, officiated our wedding, as I tried my hardest to involve all his family in our wedding,
Ooh,
and I didn't want them to feel left out or anything like that. I tried so hard to include everyone and ask their opinions on things. His mom did a beautiful job with our flowers, even if she didn't want our wedding to happen. She made it very clear.
Stop it.
Oh boy.
Dude.
I asked his niece not to do a speech, as I know she didn't know me at all that well, so it's a little difficult for her to do a speech about someone she doesn't know.
Why would that even be on the tape? Why do you even have to like turn that down? Why would
Right. I know this is in the fiance's home country, but like, did any of OP's family go?
Good question.
Because, like,
That's
that-
a great question.
It sounds like it's just all like the fiance's family being
Yeah.
involved. That's a
That would
little
suck.
interesting.
Yeah.
So she did one anyway about my husband and how sad she was. Jesus. And how she has to share him now. That's kind of weird. That's kind of
What is wrong with you guys?
Yeah. That's
Can you just like stop forever?
it's kind of a weird thing to say because you're not gonna like have the same relationship to him as like a niece and a wife. Not the same relationship.
What change? Like to these people that are like, oh, I'm losing you. Like what? It's okay. I get a little bit that like the parents like there's tears of joy and like that passing off. Like it is a chapter changing
Right.
and all of this.
But it's not a
But, like,
loss.
But it's not a loss. If anything, you're gaining a new family member, right?
Yeah.
And then like the cousins, it's like what difference does it even make to you?
Right.
Like
Right.
logically. Anyways,
Just be happy for him.
just be freaking happy.
Like I wonder. The only thing I can think of is like if after the wedding they're moving to OP's country or something.
Yeah.
But even so, I don't.
Then you got to be like, oh, we're gonna miss you being here. and
Yeah,
stuff
like you
that,
still don't have
but-
to like mourn over it like
Yeah.
so publicly at the wedding.
and be like, dang, I'm gonna miss OP. So he's so freaking fine.
Right.
My cousin's so beautiful. I'm gonna miss him
Right.
staring at that. Hey, shut up.
So weird.
Shut up.
I couldn't figure out how to connect my phone to the speaker, and one was connected already, and they wouldn't disconnect. So there was no space for a DJ. So me and my husband made a Spotify playlist for it, which the songs was skipped because his niece didn't like them. Girl,
Too freaking bad,
this niece literally wants to marry her uncle.
dude.
Ew. This is weird.
This is bad. All of Obi's fam, all of the husband's family wants to marry him. This is
Yeah.
terrible.
So strange.
Yikes.
So guests were leaving, and my friend had left too at this point, leaving us with just his family. I'd been there since 10 p.m. with everyone ignoring me, and my son, again being 5 years old, really did need to go to bed. So I start getting ready to leave, trying to tidy up and move things, and everyone telling me to just leave it there. It's fine, don't worry about it. I thought me cleaning up, getting out of my wedding dress, etc., was a clear indication that we were getting ready to leave. Apparently not. I had my stuff on a chair and made sure I had everything together, and we had ordered the Uber already, and my sister-in-law screams across the room, not talking to me, pulls me aside or even just asks. She screams, "Are you leaving already?" I replied with, "Yeah, we're exhausted, and I'm still getting used to the time zone differences as it would be 2 a.m. in my country."
Oh my God.
To which she responded with, "Oh, get over it," and stormed off. Why is this such a problem? Why? This makes absolutely no sense. Yeah. She then proceeded to start packing things up and getting annoyed and throwing things around, tidying up, then stormed to her room crying. Her best friend went in to check on her. I stood there stunned, and my husband looked at me and rolled his eyes. From here, her mom followed suit. They were talking to her or whatever. I don't know because I wasn't there. I sent my husband in because he is her brother to talk, and nothing. I went over to the door and said, "Honey, Uber is here," and she said, "It can leave."
You can leave the planet.
Girl, what is your problem?
Become a Martian and fly off of this universe to
Yeah.
never return again.
Someday Uber will partner with SpaceX and you can get a rocket.
And get
outta
you
here.
on out of here where you belong.
I was confused. I said, "What can leave?" And she said, "The Uber can leave." So I said, "Why are you crying?
Ooh,
I
yes.
still have another week here. We can spend all the time together." And she said, "I'm busy." And I said, "Busy for the entire week where you don't have 5 minutes to see us?" And she said, "Yeah." At that point, I won't lie, I was extremely annoyed by her behavior. Her being 50 years old, I was expecting like a 23-year-old.
1,000%.
Oh my gosh.
1,000%.
What?
Yeah, you need to just retire from life.
Yeah, girl.
Yeah, your time's up.
We need to revoke your subscription because
You're gonna be aged out.
dude, yeah, just stop. You just can't anymore.
As I was walking back to get my stuff to the Uber, I said rather loudly, but not shouting, that you're all acting like he's leaving you forever. And his mom heard and then replied, he is because he's moving to your country. Okay, just like I thought.
Context, good.
Oh, wait. But OP says, which is untrue, as he still isn't in my country yet. We've been married almost a year. A visa doesn't take a day, you know. So, okay. So OP is writing this a year after they got married-ish. I'm pretty sure. It sounds like.
Yeah. And they're waiting for the visa process to go through.
Yes.
So it's like, oh, he's still there.
Yeah.
It seems like half and half because it's like, oh yeah, he's still there now, but it seems like eventually once a visa is approved, he probably will go to OP's home country.
Right.
But that still doesn't give them a license to
yeah.
be crazy.
I mean, even so, it's like there's so many going away parties that have happened in life, and it's like, and none of them are about the guests who are losing this person. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, it's all about, you know, I'm really sad to see you go, but this is gonna be an amazing journey, blah 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 blah.
Yes.
This is literally marriage. Like, you should be happy for them and then be sad on your own time. Okay.
But what if I just be a big fat 50-year-old crybaby and I just be an idiot? What about that, Angie? Did you ever consider that option?
I really didn't. But
Yeah.
that's a interesting take.
Let me be a big crybaby idiot and in peace.
Oh my goodness. So I got my stuff to head out towards the Uber, and I shouted to my husband, not at my husband, that if he isn't coming, that I'm going without him, and proceeded to leave. Yeah, it's not even that she doesn't want to hang out. They have a literal 5-year-old that needs to go to bed. So like that should be even more understandable.
Also, like, no one's offered to like babysit or like anything, right?
Yeah.
Like, if
this poor kid,
my sibling is getting married and they have like a stepson, I guess.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh yeah, like let me watch him for a night. You guys go out, like they're literally. But of course, that would be too helpful. That would be actually kind. We can't be nice to our brothers getting married. Angie, we can't do that.
No,
we have to torture them. Why would we be nice on their wedding?
You're so right, John. I never thought about it like that.
See, we have to torture them. It's wedding tradition.
My sister-in-law's husband wasn't there, so he only found out the day after and held our wedding video as ransom until I apologized. It just keeps getting better, John.
Dude.
It just keeps getting better.
We gotta hire a different videographer, y'all. Can't trust him for nothing.
Oh my goodness.
Yikes.
But you know who will never hold you hostage?
Who?
Is us, John. Because you guys can just join us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. And we're probably live right now, so you just have to tap our profile.
Just come on in.
We won't hold you hostage, but you are welcome.
And we won't be big crybabies.
Yeah, I promise.
Yeah,
there is more, but should we jump into it?
We can break it down a little bit.
Yeah, let's just take a second to debrief, shall we? There is more, but let's take a beat.
Tell the husband, like, yo, get your people.
Yeah, what is the husband doing in all this?
Like, yeah, it's just like, hey, I'm, OP's not in her home country right now. Like,
yeah,
just sit down and tell him, like, I mean, I guess it's kind of like already over, like the wedding.
Right. It's like already happening.
I can't, like, we can't be dealing with, we got the kid. Like,
yeah.
This is just too much. Like, I can't be dealing with all these crazy people. And tell him, like, similar to what we said in the other story, like, if you guys can't behave, basically, like, treat him like the 5-year-old child. Like, if you cannot behave, you don't get to spend time with us, come to weddings and things like that. Like, you got to be an actual kind You know what? Not even, you don't even got to be a kind human being. Just don't be an absolute freaking monster. That's all. That's literally the only requirement.
Yes. Like, I think this means that the niece, the mother-in-law, the sister-in-law, I think they need to go to bed. I think they went to bed too late last night and now they're grouchy.
Put them to sleep in the
like
actual
real
sleep way.
sense. Very literal.
Or
But-
not. Maybe. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, it's just so insane. I think the husband definitely needs to like say some more stuff because
Yes.
looks like he was like comforting the sister, but also like you gotta
You
like
peeped that. You peeped that. Yeah, you're
kind
right.
of tell him off a little bit, or
Seems like maybe a little bit of not playing both sides, but just not fully like, boom.
yeah,
This needs to stop.
yeah, it's yeah. I also want to know because OP mentioned that like the mother-in-law didn't want this wedding to happen in the first place.
Yeah.
I want to know the tea about that. I want to see like
Yeah.
what her even reasonings are about not liking OP, because that's just a whole nother story. It sounds like in
Yeah.
itself.
I mean, she seems terrible.
yeah, yeah. But there is more to the story.
Let's get it.
So OP says, I haven't spoken to any of them since I deleted and blocked them on all social media platforms. Good for you.
Nice.
And my husband also refuses to speak to his sister after that, which is his choice.
W.
Okay, that's good. So his husband is doing something.
Although I will quickly say,
Yep.
Did he explain to her why and be like, listen, we would have loved to have had you a part of our lives,
yeah.
but this is what you did wrong and this is why we can't hang out. Maybe he did, but
yeah.
I think that would be good to again, like still block and like everything else, but like again, just good to like let people like tell them where they did wrong,
Right.
to hopefully they might not do it to someone else, or maybe they'll get better or something. Not that
Yeah.
you need to deal with that. You can keep them blocked and all that. But
Right.
that's my only.
I think that's a good point
my only
for
thing.
sure. Honestly, it was one of the worst days I've had. I also still don't have my wedding video.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. I don't. Wait, I'm just remembering now. That one person who has the wedding video held it hostage, wanted OP to apologize. But
Yes.
for what? Like for
being
marrying
a
the
loser.
fiance?
It was their reasoning was she upset the sister. It was the sister-in-law's husband.
Oh my gosh.
So it's like, oh, you made my wife upset. It's like, yeah, because she's like horrible.
Yeah, because
And she's harassing me on my wedding day.
right.
Like,
Yeah,
you both should
that's-
apologize to me.
That's so insane.
But you're not.
Just give her the wedding video. She deserves that.
Just give her the wedding video.
Yes. I don't think I want it either. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I don't know
Dang.
who's the a-hole, but I was very done. I'm not a social person. It was my wedding. Both me and my husband was done for the night, and I just wanted to go to bed. We had been there for 11 hours at that point as we arrived at 10 a.m. to set up. Yes, this is just still the day of the wedding.
Oh my God.
I just don't feel that anyone should have reacted that way. And that is the end of the story.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you don't
Yeah.
have to do anything special.
Right.
Glad you cut them off and like protect your peace.
Right. So you're
Protect
absolutely
that.
right. No one should have responded that way. That was insane. That was so insane.
They're not regular humans.
Yeah.
They're insane people.
Yeah. They're just like 5-year-olds stuck in a 50-year-old's body. That's what that is.
take the zero off.
Yeah.
That's how old they are.
That's such a big difference.
Yeah.
But that's the end of the story.
My mother-in-law ruined my hair in my sleep because she thought I was cheating on her son.
Just cut off her hair.
Yeah,
Easy.
eye for an eye.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still processing this, but I need to get it off my chest. Last night, I woke up and realized someone had destroyed my hair.
This is a woman's worst nightmare.
I mean, would you like to have your hair shaved off?
No.
Is it exclusive to women,
It
Alex?
is not, but it is more extreme for women.
I guess there's a if you have long hair. By the way, this comes from Evie Stevie on the OK Storytime subreddit. So one side is a jagged pixie cut and the other side hangs awkwardly past my shoulder. First, I thought I was losing my mind. Maybe I sleepwalked or something, but no. I confronted my husband, Tim, because he's been acting weird lately, but he denied it. Then he drops the bombshell. My mom might have done it. He was in on it. He was so in on it.
Yeah, if he knew.
Yeah. Apparently, my mother-in-law, let's call her Diane, is convinced I've been cheating on Tim. Why? because last week she saw me having lunch with a coworker.
Were they side sitting though?
For the record, the coworker Kyle is gay and we were literally talking about work. But Diane decided I must be having an affair, and instead of, talking to me or Tim, she broke into our house in the middle of the night with scissors
No.
and went full Edward Scissorhands on my hair. That's insane.
I don't believe this is real.
I mean, OP's convinced it is. This morning, I confronted her. At first, she played innocent, but when I pressed her, she literally said, "Well, maybe now you'll think twice before humiliating my son." I was fuming. I told her Kyle isn't even into women, but she just rolled her eyes and said something like, "That's what they all say."
They say they're all gay these days.
I didn't even know how to respond to that level of delusion. Tim is horrified and apologetic, but I'm struggling here. This woman violated my personal space, destroyed my hair, and acted like she was in the right. I want to go no contact with her, but Tim is stuck between me and his mom, and I feel like this is going to be a huge blow up in our
Really?
marriage. Any advice, because I'm honestly at a loss here. And there is an edit.
Oh, that was a short one.
There's more.
Okay.
There's so much more to this story.
Oh, there is.
The fact that he is at all like, I don't know which way to go. There's good guys on both sides.
I don't
It's
know
like,
if he's saying
no.
that.
Well, he's saying he's like always caught between his mom and OP. His mom literally cut her hair off. I'd be like, Mom, that's insane of you.
I don't think OP is saying he's not saying that. I think he's just like, how do I navigate these two very important relationships when one is very much in the wrong?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like he's got to set some hard boundaries.
For sure.
Personally, conspiracy theory, I think he's in on it.
You think so?
I think his reaction to one,
Hey.
yeah, knowing that she was like the most likely culprit, and then being like, oh, I don't know which one to choose. I think he's in on it. I think he thought she was cheating.
What do you think, Keon?
It sounds like, again, he's like, my mom may have done it. Like,
Yeah, that is very
Yeah, so
suspicious. Where
suspicious.
he's like, at first he was like, I don't know, and then he's like, okay, like she does this thing when she's
Yeah.
angry.
How did she break into the house? But there is an edit.
All right.
My husband and I will be going to my mother-in-law tomorrow to talk to her about the situation again. Hopefully everyone will be calmed down by then and I won't have to threaten legal action. Thank you all for the support and suggestions. I will keep them in mind. Edit number 2. To everyone saying this is fake, I don't know how to make you believe me, and honestly I shouldn't have to. Send us a picture of your hair.
Send it. Do it.
I'm sitting here crying in my friend's guest room, completely broken, trying to make sense of how my life has fallen apart in the span of 24 hours. My husband, the person I thought I could trust the most, betrayed me in the most humiliating way possible. His mother violated me in my sleep, and now strangers are telling me my pain isn't real. I wish with everything in me that this wasn't real. I wish I wasn't sitting here trying to figure out how to rebuild my life, how to ever trust someone again, or how to even face the people around me after this. I've barely eaten, I've been shaking all day, and I feel like my world is crumbling beneath me. I turned to Reddit because I don't know where else to go. I need advice, a sense of support, something to help hold myself together. But these accusations, they're just making me feel even more alone. Look what you've done, Alex.
What the hell? What
What's
the
wrong
hell?
with you? If you can't believe me, fine, but please don't make this harder than it is. I wouldn't wish this pain on anyone. And there is an update. Update. My mother-in-law cut my hair in my sleep because she thought I cheated on my husband. And now I found out
No.
my husband helped her. I was freaking right.
I did not believe that.
You didn't believe me?
I believe
Your
you.
friend.
It's not your opinion.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, I was
That
right,
simple.
so joke's on you. After the conversation we had with Diane this morning, I noticed my husband Tim was acting weird.
Shut up.
At
This is
first, I
wild.
thought it was just guilt about standing up to his mom, but it felt like more than that. He's been avoiding eye contact and getting defensive when I bring up what happened. Earlier, I couldn't take it anymore, so I sat him down and told him he needed to be 100% honest with me about everything.
Oh,
That's when he dropped the bombshell. Apparently, Diane didn't come up with the haircut idea on her own.
Shut-
That's even
Oh,
worse.
he's like OG idea.
Not like it's not even that he was involved in it, like he was a accomplice. He was the mastermind.
He was the villain mastermind.
Tim admitted that he knew about it ahead of time and even helped her plan it. And even helped her. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. He
No
said
way.
he truly thought I was cheating on him with Kyle, my gay coworker, because Diane had convinced him that there was too much evidence to ignore. When she suggested cutting my hair as some kind of weird punishment, he didn't stop her. In fact, he let her into our house that night while I was
No.
sleeping.
No.
You immediately have to get divorced. divorced. Tim said he didn't want to confront me directly because he wasn't ready for the truth. So instead, he let his mother do this insane thing to me, thinking it would force me to come clean. Afterward, when I didn't admit to cheating, he started realizing that he might have been wrong. He kept saying, I'm so sorry, I was just confused. But I honestly don't know how to process this. This wasn't just Diane acting like a lunatic, this was both of them, and my own husband betrayed me in one of the most humiliating ways possible. I packed a bag and am staying with a friend tonight, and while I figure out what to do, I don't know if I can ever trust him again after this. It's not just the haircut, it's the fact that he didn't talk to me, believed the worst about me without any proof, and actively participated in something so cruel and violating. As for Diane, she's officially deceased to me. I've already told Tim that I don't want her in my life ever again, regardless of what happens between us. Right now, I'm torn. Part of me wants to file a police report on both of them for what they did, but I'm scared of how messy it will get. Another part of me just wants to cut ties and move on, but that feels like letting them off too easy. I don't know what my next step is, but I do know this. I deserve better than this. That's, incredibly low bar.
That is the truth. You do deserve better than that.
Thank you to everyone who has supported me through this. Your comments and advice have meant the world, and I'm truly grateful for the kindness and understanding. It's helping me find the strength to figure out what comes next. And there is an update, but what do you think OP should do?
One, I think that we all have the capacity for some craziness. I'm not justifying. Let me finish this thought.
Okay, finish the thought.
I'm not justifying his behavior in the slightest.
Sure.
We all have the capacity for craziness. It seems like he thought his whole world was crumbling beneath his feet.
Yeah.
And his wife was cheating on him, and he sought out something wild. It's like a Hail Mary. I don't know his thought process.
Sure.
On OP's side, she is so correct.
Yeah.
That, like, how could you trust someone
exactly
ever again who, when they believe they are being wronged in the relationship, they will go to extreme measures in ways that literally violate you.
Yeah, instead of communicating. So as OP, I don't understand how you could ever trust that person again. Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
as an outsider,
when she's deciding whether or not to divorce him. Yeah.
Yeah, as an outsider, I could have a slight amount of empathy and be like, damn, that was crazy, but like, we're all kind of crazy. But as OP, like, I don't see a road back to trusting or forgiving that person.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think she has to kind of divorce him. But there is another update. I think I'm going to divorce him, and I may file a police report. After everything that's happened, I've been thinking a lot about my next steps, and I've come to a heartbreaking but necessary conclusion. I don't think there's any coming back from this. I trusted Tim with my heart, my safety, my life, and he betrayed me in ways I never thought possible. I can't imagine a future where I feel safe with him, where I can trust him, or where I don't carry the weight of this violation every day. I'm strongly considering filing for divorce. The thought of staying with him feels unbearable, but at the same time, I can't stop worrying about the messiness of it all. I just want to cut ties completely, to walk away and rebuild my life without him or his mother dragging me down any further. As for filing a police report, I'm leaning toward it, but I'm scared of what it might bring. I know what they did was a crime. My own husband let his mother into our home to assault me in my sleep, but the thought of dealing with legal battles or even just having to relive this again and again in statements is exhausting. Yeah, part of me wants to hold them accountable, but another part just wants to run far away and never look back.
That's what I was thinking. Like, would this just be out of punishment? And is there a possibility that you actually
do
might
more harm to yourself?
Do more harm to yourself and punish yourself in the process?
Yeah, I had to try and get a police report when my car got hit in a parking garage. Like, I never found out who it was, and it was so annoying going through like the police and then the security and filing the report and never getting anything back about it. And so I can only imagine that this is like 20 degrees harder. So yeah, it's just up to where you're at right now. Right now, I'm taking it one step at a time. I've been talking to friends, trying to find some clarity in all of this chaos. It's terrifying and painful, but I know one thing for sure. I deserve so much better than this.
Yes.
Thank you to everyone who has shown me kindness and support. It means the world to me right now.
There's 2 text messages. I'm going to pull them up on the...
Okay, text messages. We have
the first one, I'm pretty
presumably from OP. I need you to be honest with me. Did you know what mother-in-law was going to do? And the OP's husband says, I didn't think it would go this far.
Okay.
OP says, that is not an answer. Did you know she was planning to cut my hair? The husband says, she was upset, okay? She kept saying you needed to learn a lesson, but I didn't think she would actually do it. OP responds, learn a lesson? Are you hearing yourself right now? She told you she was going to do it and you still let her in? I thought maybe she'd cool down after talking to you.
I call BS.
Liar. She told you she wanted to teach me about lesson by cutting my hair and you thought it would be fine. What is wrong with you? I didn't think she'd actually go through with it. But you didn't stop her either. You didn't warn me, didn't protect me. You just let it happen. I didn't know how to handle it, okay? She was so worked up. I didn't want to make things worse.
And then there's another text message. I'll pull that up too.
This is not. I'm calling BS.
That's a lie. Yeah,
if
he's a liar.
If your mother is saying, I'm going to go in and cut her hair, and you're like in your head thinking,
Oh,
I'm
no,
going to
she's-
let her in, and they're going to have a nice conversation about
yeah,
it.
and then you don't like go into the room.
To check and
Yeah.
protect your partner.
For this one, have Sophia read the blue and then Alex read the,
Oh, okay.
the gray.
Worse? How could it possibly get worse? You knew she was going to do it and you let her.
I didn't mean for it to happen like this.
But it did happen. And now I'm sitting here humiliated, betrayed, and wondering how I'm supposed to ever trust you again.
I'm sorry. I really am.
With one L. Sorry doesn't fix this. Sorry doesn't make me feel safe in my own home anymore. I don't know who you are anymore. I need
Ooh.
space to figure this out.
Blank, please just come home and we could talk about this.
No, you made your choice, and now I'm gonna make mine. And she walks out.
Damn.
Mic drop.
Mic freaking drop.
And OP continues, I'm going through an incredibly traumatic situation and I don't know what my legal options are. My mother-in-law entered my home in the middle of the night with my husband's knowledge and cut my hair while I was sleeping. She did this because she believed I was cheating. I wasn't. I confronted my husband while he didn't outright admit to planning this, and he essentially confessed to knowing what his mom intended to do and letting her into our house that night. I'm planning to leave him and am seriously considering filing both a police report for assault on my mother-in-law and a report against my husband for enabling her. Would this conversation be enough to support filing a police report for what happened? I think so. I mean, if that's what OP wants to do, I think that's a lot of proof.
I have no idea about legality. I'll say that. But he didn't say, I knew she was going to do this and I let her in.
But does confirm that she did it. Could it help me in a divorce if I decided to pursue one? Is it worth consulting a lawyer even if I'm not 100% sure about filing a report yet? And I hope that you guys are 100% sure about joining us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Twitch. Just tap our profile. We're probably live right now. I've documented everything, photos of my hair, text messages with my husband, and written down the timeline of events. I just don't know if this conversation would actually hold up as evidence since he doesn't outright admit to anything, but heavily implies it. Any advice is appreciated. I'm feeling lost, scared, and overwhelmed right now. And that is the end of that story. My pregnant sister-in-law is afraid I'll steal the spotlight from her. Now she's treating me like absolute garbage.
You can't steal my spotlight if you're in the dumpster.
My boyfriend, male 30, and I, female 25, had just gotten married in May of this year after being together for 5 years. Dang. For context, my now husband's family has an interesting history and dynamic. I describe them as very multicultural and diverse. By the way, this comes from CB 1570 on the OK Storytime subreddit. My father-in-law is Black/Arab mixed, and my mother-in-law is White/Persian mixed. As a result, their extended families are spread around the world. My husband has 3 more siblings, an elder brother, and 2 younger brothers. I'm not sure if this is important, but I'm Asian. So my husband was studying in my home country, which is how we met. He has also lived and worked in my country for the past 4 years. It's safe to say he's made his permanent home here because of the dynamics of his family. I rarely get to meet them because they all live in different countries. During our 5-year relationship, I barely met his parents 2 to 3 times and never met his older brother and his wife. That is, I mean, I guess that makes sense if they're all in different countries.
Yeah,
Yeah.
If you're that spread
Spread
out, it's like
yeah.
it's going to be difficult. Sure.
On the other hand, I see his younger brothers frequently because they are currently studying in my native country and we're really close. That's lovely. Fast forward to May of this year when my now husband and I chose to get married in my home country. All of his family flew here to attend the wedding, and I met my husband's older brother and his wife for the first time. The first awkward incident with my sister-in-law occurred when I went to the airport with my husband to pick her and my brother-in-law up a few days before our wedding. When we first met, I extended my hand for a handshake, expecting a full, strong handshake to my sister-in-law, and she literally just used the tip of her fingers to touch my hands.
Oh no. She's like, oh, that's so sweet of you. Thanks. Oh.
I don't know how to describe it, but it's like when you don't really want to touch someone's hand during a handshake.
Yeah, I can describe it right now. It's like if the queen was like trying to shake a peasant's hand and she goes, ugh.
Following that, she walked right past me and hugged my husband. On the other side, my brother-in-law is really welcoming and thrilled to finally meet me. He hugged me and said, "It's great to finally meet you." His warmth made me forget about my sister-in-law's rudeness, and we moved on. In the days leading up to the wedding, my sister-in-law made subtle remarks about the wedding, criticizing every element we choose, from the flowers to my wedding dress. For everyone's information, I come from a financially secure family that owns a business. My parents supported half of the wedding costs, while the other half was covered by myself and my husband. My husband is a doctor, and I work as an engineer. One thing that frustrates me is how my sister-in-law keeps telling me how fortunate I am to have a wealthy family to mooch off from, and I'm surely throwing a lot of tantrums at my parents given how enormous and luxurious the wedding is. That's such a weird thing to say. Like, isn't it nice that you get to mooch off all their money?
Yeah, that's like the most backhand. That's
Yeah.
not even a compliment. You're
It's not.
insulting. That's
You're
a
just an
straight
insult.
up insult. And then you're like, and you must be throwing so many tantrums to be getting this big, this expensive wedding.
But it's always so subtle that it wouldn't start a fight, but enough to make me uncomfortable. For background, my brother-in-law and sister-in-law are also both financially well off. My husband's family was similarly financially comfortable to begin with. My brother-in-law is an accountant, and my sister-in-law occupies a management position in a company. She is also a lifestyle influencer with quite a large following on Instagram, and they live in Dubai. You know how expensive the city
Whoa,
is.
she's living in
Rich.
Dubai,
Rich.
throwing shots at you about your rich family.
Yeah.
She lives in Dubai.
That's crazy. Fast forward to September of this year, my husband and I received an invitation from my brother-in-law and sister-in-law for a gender reveal party and baby shower in October, which occurred a few days ago. We were ecstatic and decided to book our flights to Dubai immediately after receiving the invitation. For your information, there will be 2 separate events: a gender reveal party for brother-in-law, sister-in-law, and their respective families, acquaintances, and a baby shower for my sister-in-law and her female family members and acquaintances the following day. Okay, so there's the gender reveal party for the whole family, and then the baby shower just for sister-in-law and the family, female friends and family members. I was invited to both parties, and I was supposed to attend the baby shower without my husband, which I believe was a nice opportunity to bond with my sister-in-law. One would think. But then my sister-in-law contacted my husband one day before the gender reveal party and informed him that I was not invited to the baby shower.
Ooh.
How are you going to uninvite someone the day before?
Because you're petty. Because you're
This is
so
crazy.
petty.
This is crazy to me.
What is it with sometimes the sisters just like hate the brides.
I don't get it.
Like what?
Yeah.
Like would you hate like what? Has Sam ever had like a girlfriend that you just like hated?
No, but I also don't really like. There's not a lot of people that I like hate to the point where I would like actively.
Fair enough.
You
fair enough.
know,
You're not a hateful
I'm
person.
not a hater.
You're just a Harvard medical.
I'm just
school.
a Harvard. I'm a Harvard
you.
girl through and
For
through.
For all the people listening, we're
Yeah.
saying that joke because Sophia's wearing a Harvard
I'm
medical
wearing a
school
Harvard
sweater,
medical school sweater,
which
yeah.
is one of several different Ivy League institution sweaters that she has.
What can I say? I've lived a long life.
Yeah.
The reason is that she does not want me to draw attention away from her during the events. My husband and I were plainly perplexed as to how and why I would be diverting attention away from her. And her reason is that no one knows or has ever met me, so they will ask, and she does not want to spend time explaining who I am to her guests.
She's like,
No one knows you, so...
why is she gonna steal my spotlight? Oh, because she exists?
She just exists.
How am I supposed to explain that to everybody?
I have to introduce her? No, I'm only being like the only people invited are like if they have to know each other.
The
Everyone
only
has to
people
know each
invited
other.
have to know me and no one else.
No,
all
and
know
it seems
me.
like she's saying they also have to know everyone else at the party.
Yeah, actually, you're right.
Yeah.
I was on opposite day.
You were on the opposite.
right there.
Yeah.
Well, that's because it's just a ridiculous thing to
It's
think.
ridiculous. Because my husband and I do not want to cause unnecessary drama, we just agreed that I will only attend the gender reveal party with him. On the day of the gender reveal party, I went with my husband, and my sister-in-law did not speak with me at all or even recognize my presence.
That's a very what a emotionally mature, classy move.
She sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah.
I tried to make small chat to congratulate her, but she just blew me off every time. My brother-in-law, on the other hand, is as friendly as ever, thankfully. Why is he married to this woman?
I don't know. Maybe she's really
Hot?
Maybe she's really hot.
When the party appeared to become...
That's always our operating theory. Whenever it's like, why are they with this
Yeah.
terrible person? Oh,
Hot?
they're hot.
Hot?
They're probably really hot.
When the party appeared to be coming to an end, I went out to the car to get the gift I had purchased, apparently for the baby shower, but because I would not be attending the baby shower the next day, I decided to give it to her that day. During that time, the guests began to leave, and when I handed her the gift, she screamed at me loudly. The first thing she said was, "Don't you have manners?"
What?
I was clearly taken aback and bewildered. She then accused me of attempting to assert dominance by flaunting my wealth and rubbing it in her face as well as looking down at her.
Projection.
Girl, you live in Dubai. You live in Dubai.
You live in the city that's like, hey,
the richest city in the world.
Do you have money? You have to if you live here. You either have money here or we take your documents and we turn you into an indentured servant and you have to live here for years and do free labor. That's
real?
actually true, by the way.
Oh man.
Don't mess around. If you go to Dubai,
Have money.
don't mess around. Follow their rules. They will take your paperwork.
Oh my God.
They straight up will. So be careful.
For those who are curious about the present I bought, I purchased a baby blanket and sleeping bag from Dior. And the present, they have Dior baby blankets?
Okay, yeah. Actually, come on. Maybe
That's actually kind of crazy.
You're
Y'all
why'd
are
you
rich.
do that? Don't do that.
And
That is gross, actually.
and the present is in the Dior shopping bag. That
Don't
is
buy your baby's designer stuff, people.
Why are we buying babies?
It's
That's a baby. That's a baby. I felt humiliated after being screamed at, and my blood was boiling at the time. I mean, I get, to be fair, or to be clear, crazy reaction on the sister-in-law's part, but also crazy present. I yell back in rage, asking her what I did wrong to deserve to be treated so disrespectfully by her. I said that her insecurities were not my responsibility, and that if she despised me that much, she should not have invited me in the first place. That's true.
not wrong.
She appears stunned by my words and begins crying. Both my husband and brother-in-law rush towards us to calm down. My husband suggested that we leave, as well as some guests had already begun to leave. It happened 3 days ago, and since then, everything has been quiet. Nobody said anything, and now I feel horrible for yelling at a pregnant woman. And there is an update.
Oh, could it be just
Hormones?
pregnancy hormones?
I don't know, but
partially?
that's
just
a crazy
it can't
amount.
Be all of it.
It can't be all of it,
It
because
can't
there's
be
got to
all
be
of it.
some other thing that she feels offended by, because she never talked to OP.
I don't know. I'm gonna say it's
What a
like a
loss
weird
here.
thing with her brother.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it's like you're taking our brother, or you took him away. Oh, or you
Well,
took
this
him
isn't
away.
her brother. This is her, because she's married. So it's the brother-in-law and sister-in-law.
No, I'm saying
yeah,
that
by marriage.
the sister-in-law is mad at OP for taking.
No, but
her
that's not
brother.
her brother. It's her husband's brother, to my knowledge.
Dang, then I have no idea.
Yeah.
What did this person do?
I got
That's crazy.
not a clue.
Nothing.
Not a clue.
The way to go about this, in my opinion, is it's
Mhm.
like if you're, if you never see these people and you're just out there visiting them, and it's like
Yeah,
you're already planning on getting married to your, your boyfriend. You guys are
Yeah.
getting more serious. Like, just do what you can to you got to be the grease in the situation.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be the one who goes high. She's going low. You got to go high. For your
Yeah.
own life.
No,
for your
I would-
own well-being.
But there is an update. It has been a month since my last post, and now I have the opportunity to provide an update finally. First and foremost, I would like to thank everyone who commented and supported me in my previous post, and I apologize for not being able to respond to each and every one of you. By the way, my husband and I have returned safely to our home. After a few days of silence following what happened at the gender reveal party, I eventually sat down with my husband to discuss it. We had an honest discussion in which I expressed how mean my sister-in-law had been to me, and my husband ended up apologizing for not standing up for me while subconsciously knowing how my sister-in-law treated me. Subconsciously.
W husband.
I don't think you have to, I don't know if he's, it's pretty obvious to see how she was treating
Well, I think when she's screaming at
Yeah.
you in front of the shower party, I think that's pretty clear.
pretty obvious. As I mentioned in my previous post, my husband comes from a household without a girl sibling, and for the past 12 years, sister-in-law has been like a sister to him, leaving him torn between speaking out against her and sticking up for me. You should be sticking up for your partner, man.
Ooh, my theory was kind of right.
Yeah, that she was like the protective sister.
Now it has an even darker twist because they're not related.
So maybe she's got a little.
She's
a
like,
little
I
jealous.
married the wrong brother.
Ooh, that'd be bad.
Ooh.
That'd be bad.
Uh-uh.
He said he didn't expect things to go so bad because we live in separate countries and won't see each other much. We resolved our conversation with him, promising to have my back if something like this happened again. In the same week, my husband and I had the opportunity to speak with my brother-in-law through video call. Sister-in-law was not present. I know not everyone would agree with my apology, but I did apologize to brother-in-law for causing a scene by yelling at their gender reveal party. To my surprise, brother-in-law was fine, and he remarked she had it coming. Okay. So no one's supportive of their partner.
There's a little trouble in paradise over there in Dubai, huh?
I guess so. Following that, brother-in-law apologized to me on behalf of sister-in-law, as well as for turning a blind eye to what had been going on between me and sister-in-law. We discussed what might be the source of sister-in-law's hatred for me, and to my surprise, it appears to be tied to the fact that sister-in-law believes I am taking over the position of daughter-in-law in the family from her.
Oh, so it's
Okay.
so it wasn't that she was taking. Okay, so
Yeah.
it was that you're stepping into that's my
Her
job.
throne.
I am the sister-in-law everyone loves.
You can't have two sister-in-laws.
No, no one will like you.
She has been the only sister-in-law for my husband's brothers, and she believes I am taking over the role. As I previously stated, my husband's younger brothers have been studying in my home country since early this year, and we have had many opportunities to spend time together. According to brother-in-law, sister-in-law believes the brothers have been pulling away from her and becoming closer to me. For information, the brothers are 22 and 16 years old. Maybe because you're nasty.
Yeah,
they
maybe
don't
you're just
like
a
you.
little nasty.
Little nasty girl.
Mm.
Adding to the unpredictable pregnant hormones, she believes I'm buying the brothers' love by spoiling them with materialistic items.
You live in
And
Dubai.
they're-
You live in
live
Dubai. You live in Dubai.
Isn't everyone rich here? Isn't everyone rich in the story?
Yeah.
Brother-in-law stated that she had mentioned her concern to him several times previously, and he did not expect her to take it seriously, and always dismissed it. But we would never dismiss you if you join us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. Just tap our profile. And there is a little bit more, but what are your thoughts here? What do we do?
Well, first thought is that I didn't realize so many people kept their baby blankets for so long. Looking at the chat here.
No, I think a lot of people keep baby
Um,
blankets, but I just think it's crazy to buy a baby a Dior blanket.
Yeah, I guess. But at the
Regardless.
same time, it's like if you're living in Dubai, it's like why would you have the problem if somebody buys you the Dior blanket, right? It's like shouldn't you? You're kind of
Yeah.
already in that world.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know.
Cowbot as God says, I looked up a couple of Dior baby blankets. They were $550 and $570.
Just buy me
That's
for
crazy.
future reference. If I ever have a kid and you consider buying a Dior baby blanket for them, buy me however much that costs in diapers.
Honestly.
Just that.
But there is more to this story. He apologized again and stated that he will discuss it with sister-in-law after her feelings have been resolved. According to brother-in-law, sister-in-law has been acting as if nothing had happened, so he's also unsure when it is appropriate to bring the issue to the table. We ended the video chat on a positive note, and I promised brother-in-law that I would speak with the brothers and perhaps encourage them to contact sister-in-law to see how she's doing so she does not feel left out. And as for sister-in-law, I haven't spoken to her yet, and to be honest, I'm not sure I ever will. My husband and I have decided to move on from the situation and focus on our own lives. I believe that is all the updates so far. And to be honest, I could use some suggestions on how to fix my relationship with my sister-in-law. Should I reach out to her or something?
Okay,
And that's
so-
the end of that, which is, your tech.
Yeah, I think you either one will work from the
Yeah.
sound of it. It's not like this is something you're gonna have to deal with every week because
No, she's in another
you guys
country.
are literally all over the world.
Yeah.
So at some point, you guys will settle back into your own lives, and this will become just a
Distant
a
memory.
faint thought.
Mm-hmm.
I kicked my neglectful brother-in-law out of the estate. We bought it, and his family can't do anything about it.
Brother, you may not stay here no longer.
They really did hit him with that. My 32 male husband and I, 29 female, purchased his grandparents' estate after both grandparents passed away, and he did not inherit it.
Dang.
The family chose to sell the entire estate without claiming or removing any property. By the way, this comes from user pigpin91 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, the estate was left to the family to receive equal shares amongst 2 children and 4 grandchildren, including my husband. The family chose to sell and receive the money in equal shares. My husband and I chose to purchase the estate.
Dang, good for you guys.
Yeah, well, estate owners over here.
Got that chicken money. All right.
The big chicken money. My 33 male brother-in-law was living in the house as his grandparents had agreed to help him get on his feet after the breakup with his child's mother. He had substance abuse issues and has been unemployed since the birth of his child. His child's mother supported him before they broke up a year ago.
Okay.
We agreed to allow him to stay if he contributed to the monthly bills and got up to care for his child and his pets, rather than leaving that responsibility to whoever was awake or home. And if no one was awake or home, his 3-year-old was left unattended.
Oh.
Yo, can't do that, dog. That's called criminal negligence.
Yeah, that's in What Not to Do as a Parent 101 book.
Yeah.
Seems like they didn't read it.
He refused. Oh, wow. He just outright was like, nah, I'll better myself as a person or a father. No, I don't think I'll be doing that. I told him he needed to move out, and he refused to move out. I made it clear that it was not an option. I packed all of his and his child's things, oh no, and moved them out of the bedroom he was staying in to the garage. Maybe don't kick the kid out, though.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Ew, I don't know. My husband's family then informed me that was not my place and I have no right. His mother showed up unannounced to our house to find I had cleaned out other rooms in the house, and she and 2 other family members informed me I would not be going through, moving, or getting rid of anything in the home as it belongs to their parents/grandparents, and it was not my place.
I don't know. Did you check the deed of the house
That's
recently?
when I go, that's funny because I feel like I bought the place.
Oh my gosh, whose name is that?
Whoa.
Mine?
Remember how you guys all had the ability to literally pick and choose whatever in the estate would belong to who, but y'all all decided on getting rid of the whole thing and taking the cash. So the one who gave you the cash, that was us. It was me and my husband.
But it seems like they forgot that.
So we kind of own everything in the estate now because we paid you for it, remember? I responded by saying they were welcome to ask for anything specific that they regret selling with the estate. But this is my home, and I will do whatever I want. They asked that I give them the time to come and go through things themselves, to which I said no. If it's not garbage, it will be placed in storage until everything has been gone through, and my husband has kept what he wants, and the rest will be sold or donated at that time. They are free to go through things. I explained that they would not be contacting any other person who purchased the estate. And it is ridiculous that they feel comfortable contacting me with demands. Yeah, basically being like, if it wasn't us and your son, or like, if we weren't the ones who bought the estate, would you be calling whoever bought it being like, actually, you guys aren't allowed to touch anything. And that's all our stuff. It's like, no, you wouldn't have done that. After I refused to acknowledge their feelings, quote unquote, they attempted to have my husband confront me and for him to stop allowing me to be so disrespectful. My husband's response I cannot control her, and this is our home. So am I the a-hole? I mean, no. I think that there is a way where it's like, I think we might be missing a little key piece of information here. And I think it might have been an unexpected thing for them to buy the estate outright, right? I think the whole estate got sold, them included.
Yeah.
Right? And then they went after that later, and we're like, I mean, it's like, I mean, we're just, I don't know how that works. I've never been in a position to buy or sell an estate,
Me
so I'm
neither.
not really familiar with how the process works.
But
But I got to assume that it was a surprise that they bought it, or they would have gone through all of that stuff and been like, we want to keep this, we want to get rid of that.
yeah,
Right? Or
I don't know.
I don't know.
All I can think about
There's
is
something missing here.
give the husband the award of the year. Because, dude, that comment,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I cannot control her. This is our home. Dude,
Yeah,
dude, to his own family.
he said, hey,
Come on. W husband. I see him in
Yeah,
the comments.
I'm not going to be like, yeah, he really did. That was
Dang.
the most perfect statement he could have said.
Dang.
I'm not telling her how to be. It's our house. She can be however she wants. It's our house. Brother-in-law is on state assistance. Oh, wait. Oh, my God. The whole brother-in-law issue completely left my brain. Brother-in-law is on state assistance, so the Department of Family Services is already aware of their situation. All involved grandparents, brother-in-law's mother, and the child's mother's parents are aware of the situation as well. When the child's mother spoke with us, she stated she works and the baby has always been with dad, and dad has custody, so what is she supposed to do? I guess that's fair. The child's mother has also had substance abuse issues. Both parents are boozics and use THC substances, which are legal in this state. We cannot confirm the use of other substances. Brother-in-law moved in about 3 months prior to grandparents both being gone. The estate was in probate and on the market for 9 months, and we paid market price, no family discount. My husband lived with his grandparents from 7 years old until he was 27 years old when we moved in together. 1 day a week, we had dinner with his grandparents at their home to check on them and spend some time with them. The rest of the family live in other towns 30 minutes to an hour away. My husband works outside of the home, and I work at home. We also have 3 children, my 12-year-old male child from a previous relationship, and they all have to have their own space in our home. Okay.
Okay.
Um,
Noted. So you were closer to the grandparents than the other family members. So
Yeah,
we got
oh,
some
yeah.
context with the brother.
Yeah, and it seems like the other brother-in-law just moved in here out of convenience at the tail end of the
Yeah.
things were not going right.
Yeah.
And they're like, we'll let you get on your feet here.
Yeah.
We have another edit. We kept brother-in-law's pets as he is unable to care for them and offered to have the child stay with us while the parents decide what to do. Both parents said no. I do not agree with the family dynamics of my husband's family. That's not to say that I don't like them, but they enable one another and their child, my husband included, to act irresponsibly and irrationally.
Oh.
They had 9 months to claim items they wanted, and after we purchased, they had 45 days to go through things. Again, anything that is not literally garbage or unusable or in need of extensive repair is in storage to be gone through for sale and donation. And we have now an update.
And the family is just kind of like, he's fine. Let him do what he wants.
Yeah, they're like,
enabling it.
Yeah, they're like, you don't have the right. And it's like, actually, as the homeowner, I do have the right to decide who gets to stay in my house.
Yeah, I honestly might be talking to the husband about going low contact with his family because it doesn't seem like they're tight in the first place.
Yeah.
And they're allowing this kind of like behavior to go on.
I mean, look, I get like we all have our ups and downs, our peaks and valleys, and it's like clearly the brother-in-law is not in a peak right now, right? He's in a
Yeah.
valley. But you gave him the opportunity to stay there.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
said, here's A, B, and C. What needs to happen? We just need you to pay your way a little bit. We need you to try to get a job. We
Mhm.
need you to make active steps to coming out of this valley that
Yeah,
you're
put
in.
some effort in.
And he straight up said, no. That is a hard no from me. So they're saying, okay, if that's a hard no from you, you have to leave.
Yeah, because they're not going to be like his family and enable it. They're going to be like, be a person.
Like, all right, you got to now figure it out then, I guess. If you're not going to figure it out here, go figure it out somewhere else because you're not going to stay here. My husband contacted the estate attorney, and I contacted the sales attorney. Ooh, there's a lot of attorney talk. We purchased the estate anonymously to avoid this situation. Okay, so I was right. They didn't know that this was happening.
Yeah.
And now that they realize that the estate was purchased, they're saying, actually, wait, no, we want to look through all that stuff, and we want to do that. We want to do that. So they're trying to take advantage of the situation. They're trying to strong arm her. And she's saying, not today. Anyway, we purchased the estate anonymously to avoid this situation. I was unaware of that. The family has no legal right to any property and was informed of that when we purchased the property. So the family sold all property without the knowledge that we purchased it, and they could potentially reclaim anything. They have continued to demand I not go through or remove any property, and I have continued to throw trash out and place other items in storage. I have taken the advice of many commenters to sell back the items the family is asking or demanding back. We paid for the property and items. They can purchase the items back with the money we paid for said items they want. Okay. Upon purchase, we did not continue the rent-free agreement for brother-in-law, and he was, quote, evicted prior to purchase. The agreement to allow him to stay after we purchased and required a rental agreement for utilities and the understanding he would be responsible for his child and pets. When he refused the new agreement, no eviction was needed as it was a property sale with more than a 30-day notice. So they are legally completely in the green here.
Mm-hmm.
And legally, I think all of you would be in the green as well if you join us every weekday when we go live on YouTube, on Facebook, TikTok, and Twitch at 3 p.m. PST. All you got to do is tap our profile. We might even be live right now if you're watching this in the future. Go just see if we're live right now.
Yeah, the ducks are in the row. There's nothing they can do.
But what would your position be on future steps to take in regards to communications with the family?
I feel like they did every single step that they could. They offered to take the kid in. They offered, the brother-in-law to do what they could. I think they got everything figured out here.
Let's finish this story off. Let's see how greedy it gets.
Oh, goodness.
Okay. Last edit and update, we purchased the estate for $400,000 rounding down.
Oh,
so
man.
yes, it did cost us. He did receive 1/6 of the $400,000, which was given directly back to the bank for the loan, along with additional funds we saved over the 9 months to purchase either this estate or another home. Brother-in-law was given the option to contribute to the cost of utilities and his child and his pet's living costs, get out of bed, and care for his child and pets at the time of purchase. When he refused that option, no eviction was required because he was legally required to vacate when we purchased the estate. And that's the end of the story. So they're like, yep. And we didn't even have to go through an eviction process because he was already legally required to leave.
Yeah.
At the time that we bought it.
Dude,
So,
this family's whack. Whackle-doodle-doo.
I mean, I guess a smart move trying to buy it anonymously, but also like, ooh, it turned out it was impossible to
even do it.
Maybe you shouldn't have done it anonymously, and then it would have avoided all of this because they would have just done it immediately and would have been like, but I guess you had to do it anonymously because if you didn't, then it would have definitely been way more of a mess up front.
Yeah.
And I
if
guess
they
now
reacted
that,
like to it like this, imagine up front.
What am I saying? It's so smart that you did this anonymously because now that you have everything legally lined up, there's nothing they can do but cry and complain about it.
Yeah.
Before they would have been able to like twist your arm about it in a very more real way. But if you now that you've bought the whole estate, it's like, there we go.
I can't say nothing.
My sister-in-law and her family is so messy, so I'm going to throw them out of the house.
The best way to clean up a mess is just throw it in the garbage.
Talk about it. Get it out of here. So, my husband has 2 brothers and 1 sister. His sister and her husband are not my favorite people in the world. Recently, they have been couch surfing as they lost their home. Long story, which could have been avoided if they had adulted like they should have. First, they stayed in my in-laws, but they used the excuse that my father-in-law has diabetes to get rid of them and their rowdy children. By the way, this comes from Critical Lemon 4072 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. Next was his older brother and his wife. They had 2 spare rooms as 2 of their older children moved out a year ago, and they only have the 6-year-old and the 13-year-old twins at home. After 3 weeks, they had to move out due to a planned refurbishment. They were happy with them as they were generally tidy and helped out in the home. The youngest brother was next to take them in. While my sister-in-law was there, she helped out in the home and kept her children on a leash. The youngest brother's wife is very house proud, and she allowed them to stay for a limited time only as they had a baby recently, and her mother will be staying with them to help out for the first 6 months. Then they emotionally manipulated my husband to say okay. And just to quickly catch everyone up, they've basically been hopping from house to house to house and have now finally landed in OP's house. But they've been able to kind of like
they've been catching waves and waves and waves
on this couch surfing, and we've pulled to shore on OP's front door.
Okay, cool.
I agreed to it, to have them in the house on the condition that she and her husband, as well as their children, keep the place clean, because in the past, the only place they were messy in was my home. For example, if they are throwing something into the kitchen trash can, they will throw it in the general direction of it, but not into the actual bin. It's extra gross when it's food stuff that dries and stinks up the place. So they're just like, they just have like a plate of food and they're just like,
Hey, points for at least effort and direction. You know,
they're trying to like practice their hoop skills, but they just keep missing.
Hey, not everyone has that Steph Curry accuracy.
10,000 hours. They're trying to put it in.
Yeah. If they're gonna if ball is gonna be life, they gotta have every opportunity to practice.
They gotta live it.
No time off the clock.
They gotta live it.
Shooting threes every day.
Similar things happened in the past, where she would leave her sanitary towels in the bathroom on top of the bin lid in the bathroom instead of inside the actual bin.
Oh, God.
Kind of gross. Her oldest daughter started her periods recently, and I asked the younger brother's wife how things were for tidiness. She said that she had no complaints. They went to bed on time, and they kept the place clean. However, they were there for only 2 weeks. So she was, getting a reference from one of the earlier houses that she was at, and they were like, yeah, it was fine, but they were only there for 2 weeks.
I love how everyone's like sharing information on how clean this traveling family of vagrants is.
When you have to like constantly be like, hey, were they clean? Were they clean? Like,
yeah,
red flags,
red flags.
Red flags for sure. Red flag, you got to clean to mess up with. Got you. That's a cloth. Facts. They're always tidy at the other houses. I know this from experience too, because during Christmas and summer holidays, when we stayed at each other's places, I have seen the difference in how they are at my place and how they are at other places.
Maybe you just give off that messy vibe,
You just have like the look that's like, I want to trash your house.
Yeah, or maybe your house like, the feng shui isn't right.
It's like the equivalent of like a punchable face. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have a trashable
house.
Look, trashable house.
To be fair, my old apartment was a very trashable place. Like, it was like relatively clean every once in a while, but a couple parties you throw, and then suddenly everyone's just like throwing shit on the ground.
The floors begged to be sticky.
The floor was so sticky.
Yeah.
Luckily, we used mops every once in a while.
I feel like it generally it was only at like
it was only right after a party.
Yeah,
that floor, but that was a sticky floor.
It got sticky.
It got sticky. Yeah. Wow.
But before they moved in, I made the younger brother and my in-laws, witness to them agreeing to keeping my house as clean as it is now and to chip in with the chores. If they broke the rules, they would be out immediately. So to be clear, they're like, hey, you can live here, but you have to maintain it. You have to contribute to chores. If you break this, you're gone ASAP.
Cool.
Right? That's the expectation. She fussed and denied past wrongdoings, but said, as you wish, Your Highness, sarcastically.
As you wish.
As you wish, Your Highness. Shut up and
That's
clean.
such a dick move coming from someone who is literally like asking a massive favor to stay in your home.
Yeah.
I would be walking on eggshells if I didn't have a place.
Right?
If I didn't have a place to live,
I'd be like, let me clean the whole
dude,
thing.
I'm
Here's a pie.
Let me,
Like, I
let
don't
me
know.
lick your boot. Like,
good
come on.
God,
I'm gonna.
what a favor.
Yeah, yeah, dude.
Golly.
Let me shine your shoes.
Chew
by
on
just,
that leather.
by just giving a little tongue bath. Like I
Golly.
would be on my hands and knees doing whatever was necessary. I would be pulling some Nancy Reagans out there
Whatever.
if
was
if I needed to stay in this house. But yeah, it doesn't feel like they're doing that at all.
If anyone wants to house Sam, you know where to find him. The first 5 days were smooth sailing. This morning, I found a sanitary towel on top of the bin and not even wrapped properly. That and I think when we're saying that, I think we're like, you do your business and then you clean it up, but they put it on top of the trash can.
Wait, a sanitary towel? Correct me if I'm wrong. I was thinking like pads or something.
That could also be it.
What are you thinking? You're thinking like
a
reusable
baby wipe.
toilets?
Like a baby wipe.
Because you're using that, and those often aren't flushable, so you're throwing them in the trash can
on top instead of in. Could be. I think we're about to get more context, but
Thick.
let us know. Either way,
Thick.
doesn't sound cleanly.
Thick.
But that's not all. Her daughter is staying in my daughter's room, and she made a mess of the shampoo and conditioner in her bathroom and had left a tampon on the side of the sink, forgetting it from last night. Her husband leaves. Yeah, not the best look.
Oh, and that's like worse than a pad, because like at least a pad, like it's like a peanut butter jelly sandwich. You have like all the wet stuff off the counter.
There's like bread,
Yeah, like you have a layer of bread. Like a tampon's like leaving like a wet popsicle.
It's just
It's like a wet melting popsicle,
Yes.
cherry flavored.
Oh boy.
Ugh,
Yoinks.
God.
Her husband leaves early for work, and the kitchen was a mess when I finally got downstairs. And I have a curious toddler, and I didn't want him to pick up the bloodied sanitary towel. I knocked on the guest room.
Okay, so it is like a pad.
So it's all
pads.
female hygiene products that are used.
Also, Ezekiel says, "How does John look good after being sick, but Sam looks like he just woke up from a bender?" Thanks, Ezekiel.
Damn, Ezekiel, coming down harsh on my boy.
Shit.
Good gravy.
At
At this point, I knocked on the guest room, and I told her to pack her crap and get out. The kid, I believe. Crazy? Quick reaction?
Pack your crap and get out.
She set the expectation. Is it crazy, chat? Is it too much?
I mean, talk to the parents, I think, first.
Talk to
How old's the kid again?
parents.
Check, can you remember me?
When we get, yeah. I mean, definitely like teens, for sure. Early teens, I believe.
I feel like that is a thing for the parent,
So she looked angry and she tried to play innocent. She said, "Oh, it was just only some blood, and you can just throw it in the bin if it bothers you so much." She's like, "You can throw it away." That's kind of crazy.
I'm going to throw you away.
Dude, honestly.
I'm gonna throw you away.
That is, I
I'm
feel
going
like
to throw you away right now.
that's exactly what Obi's about to do, I feel like. I told her no, and I picked up her suitcase and started throwing her stuff in it. At first, she wouldn't leave the house, saying that she was going to wait for her brother, as she doesn't take orders from me. But I told her, this house belongs to me too. So she was like, "Hey, I'm going to wait for my uncle to come, and he'll tell you what's what." And OP's like, "Listen up, sweetie. I own this house too, not just your uncle."
Because nephew is like talking smack and like, I'm going to be taking orders from a blood relative, not someone who marries into this family.
The niece with the feminine hygiene products. I dropped her and her youngest ones off at my in-laws.
Yeah, dude.
OP wasn't having it, which is just like out instantly. Hey, listen, she set an expectation and she lived up to it.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah. I mean, like, that's so rude. That's so rude.
Yeah.
And if you can't take control of your kids, like, then.
And Ellie
you
says
can't
that's
sell the unit.
technically a biohazard. Please explain.
I guess like, blood.
Yeah.
Blood out in the open.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Ugh. Pisces 420 says, talking to the mom, not the niece.
Talking to the mom and not the niece. Okay.
Should we take it back a little bit?
Sure.
Thank you guys. Appreciate you.
Yeah. Running it back. At first, she wouldn't leave the house, saying she was going to wait for her brother, as she doesn't want to take orders from me.
Right.
Because
Yeah, not the uncle. Yeah, this is her brother's house.
Yeah,
right.
This is OP's sister-in-law.
Indeed, OP's sister-in-law.
Which, I was confused because how she's ordering this person around seems like she's ordering around a child.
Yeah.
The
way OP's ordering around, or the way
OP's order, like OP, it feels like OP's
sister-in-law.
ordering around a child because
Yeah,
the
yeah,
sister-in-law is acting so childish.
100%. But I told my sister-in-law that this house belongs to me too. I dropped her and her youngest kids off at my in-laws. Now, a few hours ago, her husband, the brother, came back from work, and when I wouldn't let him in, he made a scene. He went to my in-laws, but they don't want them there due to father-in-law's illness. So OP puts that in quotes for some reason. When my husband returned from work, my in-laws turned up in our driveway with her and her family within 20 minutes. They are still standing outside and squabbling about being let in. So they're almost like, I'm imagining like they're picketing.
Ho, ho. We will not let you go. Hey.
Ho,
Ho, ho.
In the house, we need to go.
There we go. That's better.
We got it.
Yeah, we got there eventually. I feel like after a couple chants, you eventually
You
stick
find
to the
it.
chant. Yeah,
Find the
it's
rhythm.
all about like getting into the groove. It's like jazz.
It's like
scatting. It's
like
like Louis.
jazz. I love it. Now, I refused to open the door, and I told my husband if he backed down, then he wasn't welcome in our home either.
Wow, she really split on the my husband and I have equal say in the house pretty quick.
OP is not playing around.
She is throwing down the gauntlet.
Absolutely throwing down. So the family thinks that I am the a-hole here because I never liked her and I'm using any excuse to get rid of her. And we have the first of our updates coming up.
I
in
mean,
this
she's
series.
leaving used tampons and pads everywhere. Like,
So
that's kind of ridiculous, is it not?
it is absolutely ridiculous. Possibly there could have just been a slight change. I don't think the ultimate outcome is wrong because she was like very explicit. Remember, she even had like other members of the family present while she was like stating the terms of like what was to be done. So she was like, I made sure there was someone there so they could kind of like see the agreement we made. And while it might be intense, it is her house. As the old saying goes, beggars cannot be choosers. And yeah, like OP laid it down. I feel like OP could have gone about it slightly less. I don't know. Like for instance, if this happened to you, would you be like, in the first instance of seeing the stuff out, are you packing their bag for them?
Yeah.
Like,
I guess like to clarify, I mean, this isn't the first time, right?
so they have come over to their house before and trashed it and opened, like for instance, like holidays and things like that. I'm imagining OP sees the difference of like how they treat OP's house and how they treat others. To my knowledge, this is the first time that they're like actually living there, like full time or for like a long period of time.
Yeah. So I mean, I think like if it seems like this family is like doing 2-week stints throughout all of their relatives' places. So I would lay down the gauntlet as they did. It's like, hey, like historically, you've been pretty messy at our place. We just want to, I think like address like historically they haven't been the cleanest. And their first instances of like leaving stuff places, you kind of have to be like, hey, like I don't think I would pack up first one, but I would give like pretty consistent reminders. And I might just eat it for like not the tampons to be clear, but like eat
Thanks for the
the
clarity.
behavior for like those 2 weeks to not cause a rift, because really like yes, it's gross, but if it's family, I might endure it for those 2 weeks, but definitely not longer.
Or like I think at a bare minimum, you could be like, hey, look, this is like an example of things that like I do not want happening in my house. Like, let's address it, let's fix it, let's talk to your daughter, and let's get it squared away.
Yeah, I think I would still try to communicate and get it fixed. But what I think I would ensure happens, it's like, okay, like, hey, you are not respecting my rules. You are, like I said, you could stay for a couple weeks. You are out. You are out after those 2 weeks. But yeah, I mean, that's just me. That's just me.
Yeah.
Like I maybe have a higher tolerance for bloodied rags being left through my house.
He's cool with it, guys.
Yeah, dude. I'm one of those.
He's so
I'm a
progressive.
chill guy.
Yeah, he's a
I'm one
big
of
chill
those.
guy.
I'm one of those chill tampon.
There we go.
Stephanie says, right, it's not the first offense. Plus, she has her toddler and the safety of their house to consider.
I honestly, like, I kind of think that she just shouldn't have let them in the first place and cited how they've treated the house in the past.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, look, I've seen how you treat other people's houses, and like I've seen how you treat mine. Like, you just repeatedly didn't, respect and keep it clean. And like, I have my toddler, and like, yes, you want to help family and everything else, and it's tough, but there kind of is a line somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think because OP already had the conversation there, right? Where it's like, hey, if I see this again, you're out. And they agreed?
Well, again, as in like, this was like pre-moving in conversation. It was like, hey,
yeah,
if you move in, like, you can't trash my place. Like, I don't know if she literally said like you've done in the past, but like they have done in the past.
Yeah. I think OP did the right thing by setting expectations. I think this is like the first offense within the context of this new expectation. So I think if we're trying to be the most empathetic, like say like, hey, you cannot leave stuff here. If I see this again, I'm going to have to kick you out, because I'm going to just read Ellie's comment. I have no tolerance for it because there are children, and that's a health hazard, and that's not okay. If you're old enough to need a tampon or pad, you're old enough to know how to dispose of it, right? And then I feel pretty comfortable if they violate that one more time, kicking them out, because the boundary was already clear to begin with. This is even more clear.
Yeah.
And so I might give a little bit more grace, but not more than once. Like, so I think this is like the first real warning.
Also, just going back to earlier when she had like the, okay, yes, Your Highness, like blowing that up a little bit.
Yeah,
their
that's so
attitude is not gratitude.
Mm-mm.
So they're gonna change their latitude, as in getting the heck out of there. Brain is finally working a little bit.
Oh, there we go.
Here we go.
Yo, that needs to be on a bumper sticker. Let's freaking go.
Woo.
I could totally see that on like a travel Instagram, where it's like, when my attitude is not gratitude, all I need to do is change my latitude. And then it's like, living my boss babe traveler lifestyle.
100%.
Yeah,
I agree.
I can see it. Like that's a different context than what you were using it, but I see like
it's got many uses.
I guess why it's like such a great idea for a bumper sticker is like you can just see all these different cohorts of people utilizing it. Yeah, so many communities, really touching the lives of all Americans everywhere, all English speakers everywhere.
I try.
Yeah,
I try, guys.
John making bumper stickers for peace.
That's me. That's just casually living my life out here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like, so in conclusion, before we get into this next update, while OP was technically within her right, she made it very clear. Maybe she was like a bit harsh in kicking them out initially, or the way she did it, but she did follow the boundary. She didn't kick them out for no reason, quote unquote.
No,
they did violate.
They did
what
violate.
She said,
yeah.
So, and they were kind of ungrateful going in. So we have.
They really suck.
They are. That's why I said she shouldn't have let him in to begin with. But we have much more to go. Let's get into this first update and see what happens next. So, yesterday my driveway looked like a scene from some Mexican standoff.
God.
Wow. They were out there discussing the matter while I refused to go out and engage. Again, I'm just imagining that, the picketers are camping.
Ho go. We will never go.
Nice. Now, after 2 hours, yes, 2 whole hours, they left. They are currently at my in-laws, but they made a promise to return later to discuss the matter tomorrow, as everyone will be home from work. And that way we can all find a workable solution. Well, at least that is what my husband relayed. When my husband got inside, I told them that I would not have them in my house. I told him that he could clean up after them, which he did. After cleaning up, he asked me why I made him do that. I told him that I was just as grossed out over other people's bodily fluids as he was, and unlike him, I wasn't biologically related to them. So, if he found it unsavory, imagine how crappy I felt in the past cleaning up after them. He promised to buy a new bin, a new trash can, and bleached the sink 3 times.
Oh God.
Bro's trying to tidy up.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like you could bleach the sink all you want, but if you're just gonna let the bloody rag people come back in, like, you know,
We're just
you
gonna
haven't
run it back
fixed the
again.
problem.
Yeah.
You haven't fixed the problem at all.
Exactly.
It's like, you know, you build your house in low tide, the water's just going to come back up if you don't build defenses around it.
The only way to really contain the problem is to completely soak it up. You can't just like, you know, wash it around.
Can't
you know
just
what I
wash
mean?
it
Just
around.
push it from
You
to
got to
and
soak it
fro.
up and put it in a bin
That's right.
and close the lid.
Correct.
Make sure they
Close that.
can't get out.
And it's not on top
Close
of the
it.
lid. Very important. Our strategy for tomorrow is that under no circumstances are they coming to live with us. His niece will be made to clean up the bathroom shampoo and conditioner mess, which also, I didn't get 100% clarity, but almost sounds like she got the shampoo and conditioner like all over the shower or something.
Yeah.
Which is also
Wait, so like, is the niece also leaving stuff everywhere in addition to the sister-in-law?
at least the shampoo and conditioner mess.
Mm.
I was admittedly a little confused whether it actually was the niece or the mom that was leaving
Yeah,
the female hygiene products.
My understanding was it was both, and that's why I got a little confused on like who OP was talking to initially. But
Same.
my understanding it was both.
Someone's leaving.
Yeah, you know, apple don't fall far from the tree.
That is true.
That, you know, that blood red apple.
Those red, no
Yeah.
Granny Smiths over here. Okay,
Oh,
we're talking
God.
bright red.
Granny Smith.
Oh boy. Well, he left that part for her, for the niece cleaning up the shampoo. In the meantime, our daughter can use our shower. We will see how this turns out tomorrow. Now, yesterday was a long day at my in-laws, and we have update number 2 coming up. It seems like we're now going to get into, they're coming back to the table.
Why? I don't want them anywhere near my table, dude.
It's so
They're
funny.
gonna leave terrible things on my table.
It's really funny because like I feel like they're coming back to the table, but Opie's like, yeah, there's just like no way they're living here. So it's kind of like, what are we coming
What
to
are you
the table
bringing? Yeah.
for? Like I feel like just call them up and be like, hey, you can't come back. Like I feel like, I mean, I guess good to like give them a seat at the table before you promptly kick them back out. But
I
like,
think the tabling is just there to inform them that you will not be coming to the table
yeah,
again.
yeah, exactly.
This is the last. This
The
is your
last
official uninvitation from this table.
Enjoy
But
the
I
seat
wanted,
while you
yeah,
can.
enjoy the seat that you have, because that was the last time that you'd be sitting in this vicinity. Honestly, I do think one last table is like smart. It's
I guess,
smart. You need
yeah,
to communicate it. You need to communicate.
better than just like over the sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you're not gonna. It's like not ghosting them. It's like saying like,
yes.
hey, I think we should just be friends. You
I
know?
respect it.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right. I respect it. Well, let's see what they say at said table. So, update number 2. We went early to get it over and done with. My in-laws started the guilt trip first. They mentioned that they would take them in until they found a place, but due to father-in-law's diabetes, it wouldn't be good for his health. I think this is the illness that OP put the quotes, the illness, which by the way, is OP given off, is there some everyone sucks here or like OP is the a-hole vibes too? I just want to plant that seed in everyone.
Do you think OP is harsher than like I would be?
Yes.
But I also haven't been confronted by a deluge of bloody feminine products
Indeed.
spread throughout my house, like Hansel and Gretel are spreading breadcrumbs throughout their trail to the witch's lair. So
Find the house.
yeah, I think because I'm not recently like wafted with those vampire sandwiches everywhere, as someone so beautifully said in
Vampire
chat.
sandwiches.
Thanks, Stephanie. My in my mind's eye, I am being more reserved, but you know, OP has just been confronted with it, so I understand her being so viciously and adamantly opposed to these people staying in a place. So in conclusion, not really the a-hole.
And we're not even halfway done. So we have more to lean from OP's judge of character, but I digress. I told them to tell their daughter to parent her children so they wouldn't run around amok like monkeys. That way they could stay with them as they have spare bedrooms. Again, this is OP talking to the in-laws, the father-in-law and the mother-in-law.
Hey, some advice to the wise. You are about to deal with a violent, bloody hurricane that could destroy your house and everything you know and love. Be forewarned.
But the thing is, the in-laws also don't want them. They're like, oh, the father-in-law has diabetes. It's too much for his
But aren't
illness.
they just gonna have to take care of them, or Okay, so
They're trying
this
to
is the table.
They're trying to pawn. So
they're trying to pass off the responsibility.
currently, this current
And they're like,
table,
we don't want it.
in-laws, and which is I think her husband's parents, and then OP and her husband. They're like, you take her, no, you take her, no,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
take him. Like
They're pushing the blood from table to table,
Oh, God.
and it's just going back and forth. It's just creating like this like Jackson Pollock on between the two tables.
Unfortunately, yes, it could be described as such. This did not land well with sister-in-law. She went on a tirade about how I had always been jealous of her and that I was trying to drive a wedge between her and her brother. I told her she doesn't like her own life, so me being jealous of her and her life was a stretch that required suspension of reality. Dude.
Damn!
Opie's not holding back,
She is
bro.
done.
Reality has
She
been
is
suspended. Go to detention because reality is in suspension.
Woo-wee.
My lord. Well, she then asked my husband if he was okay with me telling him what to do with his family, as he always stays out of my family's business. She told him to lay down the law and to tell me that his sister and her family would stay as long as it took them to find a new place. So sister-in-law is like, I will stay here as long as it takes. That's what it's going to be.
Nah, fam.
Well,
Nah, fam.
well, if you were curious what their response was, we're about to get into
God, dude,
that.
I you know what? I think OP is going to be tempered
Oh,
in that
yeah.
response. Yeah,
so
yeah.
cool, so
Very
smooth.
cool,
It's a
yeah,
cucumber.
calm, collected.
Oh man, well, my husband was having none of that. He told her that the house was mine as it was his, and it was a 2 yes and 1 no deal. Just because I was a stay-at-home mom now didn't mean that I didn't contribute to buying the house when I was working. The younger brother and his wife said they wouldn't be able to host them as they had his mother-in-law staying due to the baby. So it's, again, all of the family members are basically just saying like, hey,
Not me.
we can't,
Not my
me,
backyard.
not me. Tag, I'm not it.
Yeah, dude, they're NIMBYing.
NIMBYing.
Not in my backyard.
Right.
NIMBYing. And NIMBY politics.
Indeed.
Is usually the way it's used.
The older ones mentioned the refurbishments, kind of, some new construction. Both the younger and older wives said that I was making it up about the cleanliness, as she always kept their own house clean and kept their places clean. They told me to suck it up and act like family. Whew. I told them that I wasn't there to argue about her cleanliness, as I saw what I saw and her brother was witness to it and had to clean it up. He confirmed that he did and that I wasn't making it up. My sister-in-law slipped up and said, why did you clean it up to her brother? Because according to her, I was meant to clean it up, and slipping up because she essentially admitted to it being there, right? Like she was like, everyone else is like, oh, well, they kept our house clean. Blah, blah. So it was almost like kind of like low-key denying it. But then the sister-in-law effed up and was like, well, why'd you clean it? And it's like, well, that proves that you made the mess.
Do you think like they planted this there on purpose for any reason? I don't know why they would.
I mean,
but
no, because then that just guarantee, like, I feel like they want to stay in the house. I feel like they didn't do it on purpose. They just did it being
If you guys have a
lackadaisical.
conspiracy theory on like if or why they would do that on purpose, let us know in chat.
Please tell us.
Yeah.
Because I cannot think.
I don't see it. I don't see an
Yeah.
ICU, but if you see an ICU, let me know.
Either she is the dumbest bee alive to admit it, or she knows that she has a whole family in her pocket. Either way, I made it clear she wasn't going to stay with me because she got along much better with everyone else in the family. They would figure something out around their own lives. My husband told his niece that she was old enough to clean up the remaining mess, but she said no. Her father jumped in and said that she is your niece, but she's my daughter. Don't you dare tell her what to do. It got heated between them, so they both had to walk it off. I told her and her husband that the only reason me and my husband were there was to get money back for the bin that we had to throw out due to her sprinkling biohazards around the house.
God.
I am getting further on the line that OP is just like, it's not that she's wrong, but like,
She's mad.
she's mad, and I'm
She's
like,
mad.
really making them pay back? Like, yes, but it's just like let it go. Like, do you really want to like hover over them until they buy you back the trash can. I just get them out of your house.
Yeah.
That's, I don't know. It seems like she's purposely trying to like twist the knife or something.
I think she's trying to do what she believes is like as fair as possible.
Yeah.
I think it's not the most angelic thing to do for sure. But again, is she like the a-hole for it? I still don't think so. Lou says, I think that's too far. Just let it go. Would your life be better if you let it go? For sure.
Yes.
Are you entitled to a new trash can because they're destroying the sanctity and cleanliness of your items? Yeah, but like you're not going to be happier by chasing after that.
It's a trash can, you know.
It's a trash can. Like, how expensive is a trash can? You know, like
I mean, they can get pretty expensive, but you know.
All right, well, I'm trying to buy like $5-10 trash cans.
Yeah, do dollar store.
D-Red says OP is being justifiably petty.
Okay. We'll keep cooking on it. I'm very curious on everyone's opinion on OP as we keep going in the story. She laughed in my face and said it would never happen. So I said, fine. I hope you realize that when I threw you out, I didn't pack all your belongings. I still had her daughter's Switch, her husband and her 2 younger ones' tablets, and some of her jewelry, and a few other bits and pieces, as it all happened quickly that day. It would all be sold to recuperate my cost.
Dude. Hey, all right. Like, OP. I understand you want revenge. You know, you want what's yours. You don't want your trash cans to be like disgraced.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, hey, I like a clean trash can as much as the next guy.
Of course.
But will this act make your life more or less complicated? 100% more complicated, dude. They're gonna be pissed. They're gonna be pissed. Like, just give that back. Is the trash can worth your peace?
OP says she wants peace, but she truly, really wants war.
She wants war. She wants to just watch the world burn.
Low key, ICU conspiracy theory. Did she let them in knowing how bad they would mess up just to like start this beef?
To punish them. Yeah, dude.
Because that's a big the jewelry and Nintendo Switch. Like, these are expensive items. We're talking about a trash can.
Yeah, like that.
It's literally where garbage goes.
2 tablets. Let's say like like lower tier tablets. That's like $400 each. Plus a Nintendo Switch, which is like another like $200-300.
Yeah.
Like, are you really saying that your trash cans are collectively worth $1,000?
Lady, what kind of golden trash cans do you have?
Yeah, dude, I want to see those trash cans. Maybe it's like the ones with the sensors where you go like beep and they go
sings to you.
Yeah, it sings to you. It's like those toilets in Japan that like blast your with like warm water.
Yeah,
I don't know what these trash cans are gonna do.
Sing you back.
Yeah,
down,
they're just like maybe it's like a Roomba trash can. It follows you around every time you like do a Steph Curry shot. That's what they need. That's what they need.
That's
you know,
fire.
if they had those if they bought the $500 Roomba trash cans, they wouldn't have a problem with these sanitary projects being thrown everywhere. They just need their. You know what? I actually think we've stumbled on a solution. Get the $500 trash cans, and now all of your problems are solved.
Dude, you're actually completely accurate. Like literally none of this would have. Although they need the super premium one, where because remember they left the hygiene products on the table. It needs to be able to
pick it up.
AI detect that there's trash around, and then boom. If they had that.
Get a spot,
and maybe that's a trash can OP wants to buy. Maybe we're total. And then she's like, "Hey, now you can live here because we have it."
All right, here we go. You know those Spot robot dogs with the little arms on top?
Little robot dogs.
Yeah, the robot dogs, and they have an arm on top. You know what I'm talking about? You know about their arm? Eddie, pull that up. Look up Spot robot dog with arm. We'll watch it later. But yeah, like it can pick up trash. So maybe they just need that in the trash.
We have landed on this crazy outcome.
Yeah,
and maybe it's true.
We'll see.
Let's find out. It would all be sold to recuperate my cost. We left. She was yelling loudly about what she would do to me if I dared to sell anything. My husband has my back, and he said, go ahead and sell whatever you need to.
I don't know about that, but
that's what I'm saying. Later on, they kept texting my husband to do them one last favor by putting up with her for just a few months until she could get back on her feet.
Wait. What period of time?
Just a few months.
Hell no.
Yeah.
Hell, a few months?
Yeah, dude.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. You know what? Creativity loves constraints. You know, don't give one like the how long a task will take will expand to how long you give a task to take. So you know what? For their benefit,
Yes.
say 3 days. 3 days, get back on your feet.
And you will figure it out. Time is like water. It will fill the container that whatever container it's in.
Yep. That.
You will find the house within 3 days if that's all you have until you're homeless.
If you're forced to do it, you're gonna make something work.
Boom.
Yeah.
Well,
You're welcome.
I told them that no matter what, I would not agree to let her and her slobby husband and her horde of children back in my house. They texted me too, guilting me about his niece's education. With no place to stay close to her school, she might have to start at another school if they get a rental, which isn't in the school zone. I texted back, tough luck, and I blocked him.
OP is done.
Bye, family. Goodbye.
Also, I just want to say chat has been having some fun with that. Kimberly finds like that's multiple menstrual cycles for 3 months. Yeah, dude. Lulu, too many cycles.
Oh
Gosh,
my gosh.
dang.
And chat would know. We have a 90+% female audience, okay?
Yeah, chat knows about cycles.
Chat be knowing.
They know about those cycles.
Oh,
Call him
man.
Lance Armstrong.
Oh, goodness.
Been cycling more than anyone else.
No performance enhancing needed.
No performance.
This is all
enhancing needed
natural.
at all. Yeah, there we go.
My husband won't block his parents, but was pissed at his brothers for telling him that he was selfish to not take them in, as they are in a hard place in their lives. They did admit it was gross, but excused her behavior by texting that maybe I did something to aggravate it.
Yeah, you were
Man,
asking for this.
you were asking
blood.
for it. Well, to top all this off, the oldest wife left a voice message through her husband's number to my husband's WhatsApp. She said, I kid you not, you are still okay to watch her 6-year-old on Tuesdays and Wednesdays like usual? I told him to say, figure out what the answer to that request is. So that is where we are now. So I think basically saying like, hey, you're still good to like watch I think maybe one of their kids. Like, oh, have them come over Tuesday and Wednesday. And they're like, what about your band? Do not understand. I think that's what they're saying here. We have update 3, and might I remind everyone, we're not even halfway through yet. We are buckled into a saga.
Freaking doozy.
Do you have anything to say before we get into update number 3?
No, dude, I'm ready to jump on in like a jumping jelly bean.
Well, let's dive in. Splish splash. Update number 3. Went to pick up my children and had to stick around a little longer as new family is moving into the area. The parents wanted to meet their children's classmates. So we had a small meet and greet. The office brought my husband's older brother's daughter, the 6-year-old that they were asked to watch earlier, to me, as I am the one that usually picks her up on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and she stays with me. No one had picked her up, and when her teacher noticed me waiting in the hallway, she asked an office admin to bring her to me, thinking I was delayed due to meeting with the new parents. I told them that I wasn't responsible for her anymore on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. They told her to go back to the office, and they must call their mother.
Oh,
Dude, this poor 6-year-old's getting abandoned.
that sucks. I mean, like the 6-year-old didn't do anything wrong here.
That's super tough. Kimberly Fine says, it sucks for the kid, but if OP doesn't hold the boundary, they'd continue to take advantage. That was their attempt to crack a window to see if they could crawl back in. Possibly true. I mean, it is on them for abandoning their own freaking 6-year-old. Like, there's definitely no doubt about that. You shouldn't do that. I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely a tough... I mean, maybe at least stay until the kid gets picked up or something. I think that's what I would have done at least. Like,
Yeah, just because like that kid doesn't deserve to just
that
be
poor little
abandoned.
6-year-old is innocent. I'm sorry, but the
Yeah.
6-year-old, like, but you can still just like hang around. I'm literally thinking like you just like hang in the corner, and then as soon as you see them like walking in, you just scurry away.
Beeline.
So they don't get the idea of like, oh, every time we abandon her,
yeah.
they'll just stay and do our job for us as parents. But when I returned home from the meet and greet, my husband said his parents had called him and spoken their mind to him about me abandoning their granddaughter. What about her parents? Ever think about that?
Exactly, yeah.
They also put his older brother's wife on the phone. She had a shouting match with my husband. Sister-in-law I kicked out also had a few words with him. It ended with my husband telling his parents that they lost the privilege to talk to him for a week, and he would only unblock them when he gave him and me a sincere apology. Bro really said you're locked out. You have to wait X amount of time before you can log back in. That is literally what bro said. So he explained that it was up to the parents to make the pickup arrangements when I made it clear that I would no longer provide free services. The sister-in-law I kicked out is staying with her parents for now. Yeah, there we go. That seems like a solution maybe. Her husband and her younger two and two of the older kids are staying with my in-laws. The other older two are with the other two younger ones, are spreading them around the two houses, but they have made a very indirect threat that it would be made a very temporary arrangement, as she promised it wouldn't take long to make her brother see the light. Just a quick recap of all of that. I believe they're basically dispersing the family amongst. So it's like they're like, hey, go with your grandparents on your mom's side. Hey, me and your dad are going over here.
They're trying to
brother.
find like solutions to distribute the family so it's not like a toxic waste dump altogether. Like they're like they're like the dirty Avengers, and they assemble, just nothing gets accomplished except messiness.
Yeah, and for now, everyone has said like, hey, you as the full family unit, we cannot house you. So I think they're like, hey, just like house us for a bit. They're really just trying to make it work, like do whatever they can, you know. Opie says, I think I'm in for a long ride. And Opie would not be wrong, because we're about to get into update number 4. So it's early in the morning, and I've only slept a few hours. I don't know if I'll be able to finish this one in one sitting, but on Friday, I dropped off my children at school, and the older brother's wife was there at drop-off time. She followed me because when I stopped to pick up some bits and pieces, she confronted me in the store parking lot. She was apologetic and wanted to make amends. Okay. I was having none of it. You think you're going to apologize to me?
Opie's freaking like, nah.
Wrong.
Nah.
There's no
I
you
laugh at your
suffering.
apology.
You have to suffer before I can even think of forgiveness. So she was desperate because she said if she missed one more week of overtime, she would lose the project as she is the lead and has to stay there to supervise. Her husband can't change his hours, and so it has to be her who picks up her 7-year-old. She said it's not defensible to have a grudge against a 6-year-old for a passing comment she made. Eddie, if someone's able to like 100% correct me, I'm not 1,000% sure if the 6-year-old belongs to the dirty family that stayed with OP, or if it belongs to one of the other
My
siblings'
thought is
families.
the dirty family.
That's what I thought initially, but let us know if we're getting that wrong, but we will keep going. I told her it wasn't a passing comment. She laid the blame on me for our sister-in-law leaving biohazards in my home. I think she was saying, hey, you dirty sister-in-law, you said it was like not on me.
Wait. You know what, actually? So it says our sister-in-law. So sister-in-law is so she's talking to another sister-in-law.
Yes.
She's talking to the person that was going to take in the dirty family.
I think so. At a bare minimum, the mother of the 6-year-old. I think that.
So the mother of the 6-year-old that she's talking to, that she left, was the person that was like, we're not going to take them. You should take them. And now OP has a grudge against them too.
Yeah. Running that last sentence back. She laid the blame on me for our dirty sister-in-law leaving biohazards in my home, right? I'll call her dirty sister-in-law from now on. So she said that she wanted everyone to get along, and she was just hoping to de-escalate the situation. I asked her to ask the dirty sister-in-law to help her out, and she even said she had refused as she has 3 kids under 7 years and can barely cope with them. I asked her to ask the youngest wife, as she has her mother staying with her, leaving her with the time and energy to pick up her children, and they clearly preferred each other over me. She said she wanted to concentrate on the early memories of her own child instead of helping out with her 6-year-old. I told her to suck it up and find a solution with those she considered family. Then I went about my shopping. He could not care freaking less.
He doesn't give a shit.
Well, in the afternoon, I went to pick up my little ones. She was there again, and when we got out of the pickup line, she followed me all the way home. I blocked my driveway by parallel parking, so she, the sister-in-law, wouldn't be able to park and harass me at my door. I sent a text to my husband to let me know when he would be home so I could move the car. Not being able to park didn't stop her as she parked on the side of the road and then came up to my house. She rang the bell, but I would not open the door. She went around the back and knocked on my back door, telling me that I couldn't avoid her forever. We were family. I told her through the window I didn't want her to push her way through if I opened the door, to leave or I would call the police for harassment. And she left. In the evening, someone rang our doorbell and I went to open it. It was mother-in-law and father-in-law. They wanted to come inside and apologize. So I let them in. They started by telling us how much the events of the last few days had affected them. Then they said sorry and asked me to get back to normal. My mother-in-law said that sometimes you have to put up with some negativity from family, as life has a lot of ups and downs. Everything can't be roses and rainbows all the time. My husband stopped his mother and said, then why do OP and I have to be the only ones on the receiving end of the negativity? When would they hold his sister and the others accountable for their behavior?
Yeah, I mean their behavior is so much worse.
It's pretty terrible, guys. Not that OP is a Mother Teresa, but the point still stands. They tried to guilt trip me into helping out with the 6-year-old, as her mother and I had previously been on good terms. I said she lost that privilege as she chose her side. They said, would I be able to sleep at night knowing that she would lose her job? Because remember from before, she's basically like, hey, if we can't have you pick up and watch the 6-year-old, it'll mess up our whole job situations, essentially, which I want to discuss that more later. I said, yes. OP doesn't care. She's like, lose your jobs.
Dude, the amount that she has cared about these people from the beginning has been like less than zero.
Negative
She's like,
1,000%.
I am done. I've been done from the beginning, and there's only been BS to follow, and I've been done with all that too.
Dare I say she is thrilled that she'll be losing her job and can't support her children. Well, my husband and I pointed out how much I had done for her without any financial compensation. They said, you were home anyways. One more child that was already potty trained made no difference to me over the past 4 years. I told them it did, because I had made many sacrifices over the years for their daughter. I also mentioned that if they couldn't convince the younger brother's wife to help out, then they could forget about coercing me to do it. They wanted to know, because again, that's another group that's a family that could be taking them in, but they're not right now. So they wanted to know when I would return the stuff that I was holding hostage. Remember the tablets, the jewelry, and the Nintendo
OP
Switch.
Is kind of holding it hostage.
OP needs to return that stuff now. My husband said he was holding it hostage, and it would be returned when his sister paid for the damages. Remember the trash can.
Don't forget about those $500 trash cans.
We cannot forget the Steph Curry trash grabbing
can,
miracles.
Yeah.
So my father-in-law said that sister-in-law would be right to report the theft to the police. My husband said she could do as she pleased. Wow.
Dude.
They are standing on business. And this is not the type of business you want to stand. This is some bad business.
Oh,
bad business we're standing
God.
on, okay? So, at this point, my husband told them something I wasn't aware of. You see, he said to pass on a message to his sister that he had canceled the hotel and activities, including the horse riding for his niece for the summer vacation. If he couldn't tell her to clean up her mess, because her father had told my husband, who did he think he was, to his daughter, to boss her around, then he felt no need to pay for her specific activities, since her father was unsure about their uncle-niece relationship and having the right to teach her some responsibility. To quickly summarize that, I believe that Opie's husband had maybe paid for some uncle-niece activities and is now like, hey, listen, if I can't, tell her to clean up when she's dirtying my own house, well, then I don't, how do I know where we stand on our relationship and if I should be giving her these, horse riding lessons and doing these activities with her?
Why would you?
I guess so, yeah. So this made my mother-in-law upset, and she said, you haven't done that, have you? I thought we all would have had a great vacation, but he said he had canceled it. So they tried to make excuses like sister-in-law had a lot on her plate with losing the house, all the young children, but I was having none of it. I told them that her life situation was due to her own poor choices and that bringing a 9th child into the mix was not going to make her situation better. I don't know if that was hyperbole or if they really have 9 children. I think she's like exaggerating.
Is she?
Maybe it's a 9th in like the extended family, you know, like all the first
Yeah.
cousins. Not clear, but my mother-in-law said every woman had a right to decide for themselves about their family planning. Her body, her choice, and I was not to dictate to her what she should and shouldn't do. I asked her, like you are dictating to me right now by weaseling your way into our home under the guise of an apology. Ooh.
Dude, OP sees through your Machiavellian game.
She just
She sees it.
Oh, she said no, it was different. She wasn't telling me to have more or less children as she loved her grandchildren. The more the merrier. I told her she couldn't expect me to look after other people's children either. The less stress I had, the merrier I was. It also comes under my body, my choice. She's like, my body, my house, you're out. That's my choice.
Also, Kelsey Hoff says no, it was 8 children between the sister-in-law and the brother-in-law together.
Thank you, Kelsey Hoff.
Shout out you.
So between the sister-in-law, okay, so the cousins.
So I think this is the 9th children after those 8 children they had.
So they have,
Not direct, like between sister-in-law and brother-in-law.
yeah, all of the first cousins. Like,
yeah.
like there's grandpa, grandma, and then all of their grandchildren. There's like 9 grandchildren there. Okay, I think I'm following. They turned to my husband and asked him if he was really putting them through all of this because we decided to be less amiable over a silly thing. He said scrubbing down 2 bathrooms after his niece and his sister wasn't the highlight of his life, as they were stuck making excuses and lamenting over us not joining them for the family holiday, and by canceling sister-in-law and her family's holiday and ruining the mood for everyone, we told them to leave politely. On Saturday morning, we were woken up by someone frantically knocking on our door and ringing our doorbell. Ding dong. It was sister-in-law and her eldest son. They're back again.
Back from the dead.
Back from the dead. My husband told me that he would handle it. So when he opened the door, she tried to push through it, but my husband blocked her way. She was
Why is she pushing through? She's starting to storm the castle.
Listen, if we just, you know, if you've heard of threading the needle in football, right? It's where you just like force your way. Everyone's like tackling each other, but sometimes you just like punch someone through the horde and make it through the other side. She is trying to run this play. She is trying to. She says, maybe
you gotta admire the tenacity.
Look, if I can just simply brute force my way through
with clear eyes and a full heart,
maybe
you can't
we can
lose.
make it. Maybe we can make it. Oh, geez, I punched myself in the face. What a stream. So she was shouting loudly to let her come inside so she could knock some sense into me. Oh, my God. She threw $300 into my husband's face and said to him, is she happy now, that cradle-snatching bee? I am a year and a few months older than her, and she is just 2 years older than him.
God, this is really like just spiraling.
Yeah, so bad. She called me a jealous and a few other choice words. She told him that I had ruined their family by manipulating him. Edit to add, she said now that she had returned the money that she wanted him to rebook the vacation and activities ASAP. My husband said it wouldn't happen if heck froze over. He told her to wait outside while he grabbed something. He went inside and he put their stuff in a bag, except for one of those tablets that he had bought and he was paying the insurance for. So maybe like one he bought and gifted to them. He opened the door and threw it at her. She was cursing at him and told him to grow the F up. She said that she would report him for damaging her stuff. He told her all was caught on camera, and if she wanted to take him to court, to really think of her children, as they could barely afford a roof over their house, let alone a lawyer. I mean, he's not wrong.
Good. But I feel like they are just clapping back with the force of 1,000 tsunamis. Like they are not sparing the women. They are not sparing the children.
No.
They're just like, all right, I can unleash, a Mike Tyson punch on a toddler. I'm going to do it.
And I have to say, we've read all these stories of, for instance, we've had several stories where families barged through and tried to essentially squat, right? They're literally physically coming in, changing the locks, like all these different types of things, right? And you do have to say, with people that are this insane, it does kind of seem like you have to return the same level of insanity to get them to stop. You know, like I am.
I'm never a big fan of like stooping to the level
Yes.
of the people. That being said, I do think that often people don't realize how crazy they're being until it's reflected to them. And then they're like, "Oh, that's what it's like."
Yeah.
You know, like this is a bad example, but like I remember I had like an ex who was like yelling at me, which I felt was unjustified.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not one to yell.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "Why do you never raise your voice? Like, why do you never yell back?" And I'm like, "Do you want me to try?" And she's like, "Yeah." And then I kind of like reciprocated the same thing that she was giving me, and I didn't like it. But she was like, "Oh, that kind of sucks." And it was like, you know, it's like, yeah, no, it does suck, right? So it can be sometimes useful, but I think in small doses to like just for a moment reflect what's going on, like what they're actually doing, and then back off and start taking the high road. But I feel like in only like the most dire of situations.
Well, to your point, I think there's a way to build a very solid wall for your boundary, but in the right way. For example, instead of stealing and keeping their stuff, instead of being as petty and vindictive, they could have just been like, "Hey, look, you're going to keep coming back. So like, we're just going to call the police and just like try to get like anytime you come here, we're going to call the police. You can't try to like rush your way in the door, any of this." Like there are tools available that are like the appropriate level, quote unquote, of a response where it's like, I won't like be twisting the knife, but I will put up the wall.
Yeah.
You know, I won't attack you, but I will protect myself.
And I do think the problem that I have with OP is feels more knife twist than wall.
Like she enjoys it. Like she
She
relishes
is like, "Give me that. I want to twist all the knives." You know, like I feel like she only carries twisty knives. But she's never just like a stab and run away kind of gal.
100%. I think like while they could have, you know, been very forthright and like putting up the wall, putting up the boundary, it seems like they just went about everything the like overly. It's just the wrong angle.
Yeah.
It's the wrong. Protect yourself, but maybe not steal all their jewelry and electronics. Maybe.
Kirby says you can't win from craziness. Like I do think like when you're playing against crazy Olympians, you're never gonna be able to compete. You know,
Fire versus fire, we all burn down.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
But there's more to the story. So before he closed the door on her face, he told her to not step foot on our property again. She left without more drama. My mother-in-law and father-in-law phoned us to try to talk some sense into us, quote unquote. My husband and I had agreed to let them see our children under certain circumstances. They said that they had grandparent rights, which is a real thing.
It is a real thing. We did look up.
I told them that although I was no lawyer, the rights were very limited in the state that we live in. If they wanted to have a relationship with their grandchildren, they would have to start respecting me and my family.
Which is a reasonable request.
Right now, we are no contact with the older brothers and their wives, sister-in-law, and her nuclear family. We unblocked them to send a message to them and then blocked them again. If the children of the older brother want to speak to us and spend some time with us, that is fine by us. The 6-year-old can only come by if her older siblings are there to supervise her on the weekends when we have time to host them. No more dropping by as and when they wish. If they let their parents use their numbers to contact us, then we will block them too. While we were sending messages to everyone and they were unblocked, the older one's wife phoned me and said that she could pay me $7.50 an hour for the days that I looked after their 6-year-old.
Wait, going back to... Come on!
I mean, hey,
get a hint.
It's not minimum wage, but you know, there's, dude.
Oh.
When I made $8 an hour as a babysitter, I thought I was rich,
King
boy.
of the hill, dude.
But also, I'm not like an adult with children, so
Yeah, that's true.
or I wasn't, anyways. So I told her, no, thank you. I will pass on that wonderful opportunity, and good luck to you finding childcare for that amount. She texted me she would compensate me for the last 3 months too to sweeten the deal. I told her no. She begged me to reconsider as she had no one lined up for the next week. I told her to figure out her own childcare. She was crying, and I have to admit, it was kind of satisfactory.
I mean, OP, yes, maybe you haven't admitted your knife twisting has been satisfactory, but you showed us. You don't need to show don't tell, and you have showed us you love twisting that knife.
I'm not gonna lie. So like, the word satisfactory was cut off. So I thought it was gonna be like, and I have to admit, I was kind of starting to feel bad.
I thought too. And no, she's like, yes.
Satisfactory. She's satisfied.
Yes.
Holy moly,
man! I like at what point is OP an a-hole? Like, yes, she's also.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Come on,
like it's kind of. Lala said it's savage. It's just a little too savage.
It's a little too savage.
It's a little too much. My God. No wonder they're all a family. Like they all just are returning nuclear fire to each other. It's
yeah.
Anyways, so if I'm a B for that, I will own it. Opie said I'll stand on it.
Owning it.
She will most likely lose her job, but it's not my circus and not my monkeys. Now, the younger one's wife wondered if she could get some help with the baby when her mother went back home, as I helped her with the older one. I told her no. That would happen because I did not want more regrets in life, but the baby grows up and wants to spend time with the uncle one-on-one. Then they can come by if we have time to host them. In the meantime, she could ask sister-in-law to help her when her mother left. Now, sister-in-law and her husband are completely blocked. I believe this is the ones that dirtied up the house. Their children are on the no contact list as things are very complicated with their parents. My husband and I came to an agreement that we would go low contact with his parents. When they do visit us, they have to follow our ground rules. When spending time with us, they can't mention or advocate on behalf of the others, and they can't mention what is happening in our lives to the others. If not, we go no contact with them too. Now, in the summer, we tend to spend 2 weeks together as a family. This has been a family tradition for them since they were small. No matter what, they spend those 2 weeks together. No time with friends or other family. It's always the last 2 weeks of July. I knew we were going to spend the summer together before all of this happened, but I had no idea my husband had paid for sister-in-law this year. So remember earlier when he was talking about that, I think she was alluding to that.
Wait, so are you saying these nuclear people are being paid for to all come to this lake house?
I think before this whole fallout happened, he was funding the sister-in-law's family group to come out for the summer. He was paying for their summer vacation, essentially. I believe is what's being said here. He apologized for it and said that all of it was canceled. So he's apologizing to OP like, hey, I'm so sorry that I ever paid for this for them. Yeah. It's gone. It's done. It's over. There. Oh, here we go. More context. He had paid for most of it and had partially paid for them in previous years due to their finances not stretching. Sister-in-law and her family, the others would all pay for themselves. So he's been helping them out. I didn't mind, as we have a joint account and our own separate accounts that we use as we wish without consulting each other. So since I stopped working, he also adds money monthly to my solo account as he does to his own. He said he regretted being this kind to them and apologized for holding it from me. He did show me proof that the day I checked her out was the day he canceled it, and he wanted to tell me, but had forgotten to do so because of all the chaos. Needless to say, we are making our holiday traditions going forward. All of this has brought me and my husband closer. Dude, they've found out they share an evil.
They found their kink.
This evil energy, dude.
I know,
they've entered their villain
it.
era together.
They love it.
My God, truly Joker and Harley Quinn energy over here.
Bonnie and Clyde over here.
My God, I am happy for all the support here, and going forward, I think there will be less stress. I feel like a huge load is off my shoulders, and thanks again for all the support. Hopefully, nothing new will happen as they know that we mean business, and Opie's not joking around.
We know.
we
know.
Get it.
Jesus. We don't need any more proof.
Oh, man. Well, we're not totally done. There are some relevant comments here. Firewater Kai says, what a ride. Glad you and your husband held your ground. This had to be rough as hell. However, I'm willing to bet that your in-laws will absolutely try to guilt you again the second they come to visit under the guise of seeing your kids. OP responds, it was very rough, specifically for my husband. I am happy that he stuck by me. I would do the exact same for him if anyone in my family disrespected him. Buttered Crumpet 09 says, it isn't just disrespect. Every apology, quote unquote, is really just a request that you go back to doing things for them, taking their crap and making their life easier. There's no sincerity or statement of, I'm sorry I screwed up and I miss having you in our lives. This won't happen again, and I hope you can eventually forgive us. Instead, what they're basically saying is, it's not that bad, you can't be mad at us, and would you, for goodness sake, stop being meanies and go back to spending your time, your effort, and your money on us? We've made piss poor decisions, and based on our ability to function, on your willingness to keep taking our crap and doing things for us, so just shut up and get over it. I'm so sorry that you and your husband are going through this. The thing is that now you've made your space in your life for people who will appreciate you both, who will be there for you rather than constantly expecting you to be there for them, and who won't have you dealing with this level of BS and buffoonery. And you know where you never have to deal with 1 ounce of BS or buffoonery is by tapping our profile. To join us live every single weekday at 3 p.m. PST. We're live on YouTube, we're live on TikTok, live on Facebook. Come join us. Tap the profile.
Please
right
do.
now.
It's a good time.
Come hang out with us. Sam, there's a little bit left.
Dude, roll into it.
Sleeping Gruthy says, happy to hear you and your husband are off in the same mindset in all of this and have been since the start of the kerfuffle. So often in this sub, it's the opposite. Please continue to buff your shiny, shiny titanium spine and stand up for you and your family. There's a saying that once you piss off a kind person, that's it. And now the family is finding out how much you've done for them and are regretting the decisions. But hey, the silver lining is you can now have more free time and less headaches.
Ooh. Yikes, dude. Don't want to cross OP.
Dude,
Don't want to cross
stay
OP.
far away. Run.
Goodness. OP stands on business, does not mess around. What a saga. What a saga. And I'd like to remind everyone, this all started with a dirty tampon.
We went, literally forgot.
Yeah, this all started with a dirty tampon, and look where it went.
Look where
I think that just goes to show small actions can lead to big results.
that is,
You
dude,
know?
in the worst of ways.
If you don't think what you do makes a difference, just think you could blow up an entire family by leaving a dirty tampon somewhere.
You're one pad away.
One pad away. And a lot of commitment
Oh, yes.
from imploding a family.
Absolutely.
And also the opposite of that, too. I don't know what the opposite of that, but the opposite of that, too.
It could work out well if you take that same energy and apply it somewhere else.
Yeah.
Final stance. Is everyone the a-hole here?
Everyone's the a-hole.
I think
dude.
everyone's the a-hole.
I think everyone's the a-hole. OP, got a, yes, OP was wronged, but man, did OP love to twist the knife every opportunity that she got. And hey, I'm glad that when you went down the rabbit hole, you took your husband with you, and it seems like that's like the kind of kinky energy that both of you guys need.
You came closer together. Hey, I guess that's the silver lining.
That's a silver lining.
I guess so.
But what I want to line this with is the fact that this episode's done.
Over.
Nada. Not going to any more except maybe tomorrow. So if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you
And see you tomorrow.